Welcome back to 1010's podcast. We are back after a week hiatus in the Kanga Motorsports studio. Aren't you guys so excited?
Woo! Last week was really weird for me because my entire life revolves, like I kept forgetting what day it was, right? Because I was like,
it's not Wednesday, so...
So Wednesday, Thursday morning technically is when my trash gets picked up. But I know when I come home and I park my vehicle after podcasting, I grab the trash can and take it to the end of the driveway. Forgot to do it. Now my trash can's full. See?
Totally
not podcasting ruins my life too, everyone. I just want you to know that.
Not only that, but we almost went...
Almost two full weeks.
Yeah, because we recorded...
The Monday
instead of Wednesday.
So we almost had that full week off. It felt like we almost had that full week off and then the week after off. Yeah.
So messed up.
I like my routines.
It screws stuff up.
I like having my Wednesday.
We had a couple of people that were like, I hope you guys enjoyed your break. And I was like, podcasting's my break from reality. This was bad for me.
Yeah.
I had a week of work.
Yeah.
I was out of town
he had to go out. Robbie had to go out of town.
Yeah.
So he had to do adult things.
You know what really sucks? 6 a.m. flights.
It's fine.
That means be there at like 4:30.
That's
you can like show up at 5:55 and still make a 6 a.m. flight.
No.
not in Robbie's world. Are you kidding me?
No. Well, you got to return the rental car, and it's a whole...
Oh, okay. I didn't. I figured like from here you're flying out at 6 a.m.
Flying back.
From where?
Connecticut. Hartford, Connecticut.
I've never been to that area of the country.
It's not so bad, but it's still
Airport
early.
Anyway.
Super early.
Anyway, should we do some podcast things?
Let's do some podcasts. We have so much.
We do have a lot of things that came up. First of all, treachery. I received a package. And Robbie, you could pull up a picture of what I received so that people on YouTube can see it.
I'll share about your package.
You can look at my package on YouTube right now. So anyway, yes, treachery, traitors, backstabbing, all the above.
Yeah,
if you have followed our show for some time, you'll remember the great podcast war of 2017. Thought that was resolved, right? We'd moved on.
I thought it was,
made friends. The
only
casualties,
a battle or two, really.
Casualties were over.
Pretty low, honestly.
We all kind of moved on. Everything was good. Wrong, incorrect. I come home to this package that says Radio Podcast or Radical Podcast.
Radical Podcast.
The Radical Podcast, and it says hashtag Podcast War on the outside. And then if you go to the next slide, please, Robbie. Oh wait, no, that's not. No, that's none of those.
It's not in order. It's not in order.
Okay, anyway, but the next slide is the outside of the box, and it says "Don't cut me, bro," and it's a picture of me with a knife.
Right, obviously.
So anyway, open the box. It's full of shop towels for some reason, and there's actually a
like
roll,
the blue paper shop towels,
and there's a roll of shop towels.
That's convenient.
In there. So
That's kind of nice.
I love those.
I did keep the roll
for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was like somebody was packing it and then went, fuck it, and threw the shop towels in it and taped it up.
That's got to be the nicest part of it, right?
Yeah, because it goes downhill from there. It says, Radical Podcast, Dear 10/10 Healthcast.
Oh, God.
It is that time of year again to get out and do things we love. Motorsports. Agreed.
That's
so
what
far.
I thought, except it was 13 degrees when I woke up this morning.
It's going to snowstorm on Sunday. But anyway, as such, it is very important to stay hydrated as you are spinning wrenches and banging gears. We would like to hear your review of this hydrating and refreshing black liquid.
Oh,
as well as these electrolyte replenishing chewables. Your friend's Radical Podcast Covey person. Okay. So anyway, here it is. This is the bottle that he sent me.
Oh God,
Adam,
it's just
the bottle is clear.
Let me.
See that? See that? The bottle's clear.
Is it like a Coke, maybe?
But
is it like cola?
Is it like black?
Liquid is black, and it says
like
BLK black.
Used oil.
Premium alkaline water.
Alkaline.
I did not realize that the bottle wasn't black. When
you know
I saw
what?
it
I think I've seen this before.
I've seen it in the store, but I never took it seriously. I looked at it one time.
Water.
Because they have a lemonade.
It's disgusting.
Do they?
Is it black as well?
Yeah.
I would not drink that.
I didn't realize the fluid was black. I thought the bottle was black. I thought that was like, we're edgy, we're black. No.
We're hip, we're trendy.
No, it's scary.
They say it's got trace minerals, electrolytes, no calories, no sugar.
Well, that's good.
It's got it's pH.
Go deep
pH. It's alkaline pH. It's 8, so it's alkaline, not acidic. Obviously, right? We've talked about this in the past.
Basic acidic,
basic. Sorry, talked about this in the past, like people drinking or eating foods that are alkaline and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's full of fulvic trace minerals, and I think that's why it's just relax. I laugh too, but just relax.
Have you tried this before?
I have never had this before.
Does it smell good?
Actually, it doesn't smell like anything.
You know,
at all.
That's a good sign, right?
If
for
it
water?
tasted like black licorice or something like that,
That'd be bad.
I wouldn't be mad about
it
it.
looks awful.
It looks like coffee.
Yeah, it looks like
But darker.
cold coffee.
Oh, what the hell?
I'm not giving you guys very much. 'Cause
I
apparently, we have
appreciate
more
that.
things that we have to do today.
Oh, you'll
There's a-
enjoy where this is going.
I don't know,
promise.
man.
I'm gonna bring the.
This is what we get for taking a week
Yeah,
off, right?
I'm gonna bring this back up for
Holding
for
this
both
up
of
so
you,
people
at
can
least.
see it that it's on YouTube. It's very black.
It is so.
It's so freakishly
Is this
black.
where we like hold it up to the light and we sniff it? Is that are we?
No, I think-
Is that what the sommeliers do?
You gotta
we
let
just
the
drink it.
you gotta let the tannins breathe,
Hold on,
man.
before you drink that, then they
What are-
sent
what are-
this. It's called Venco, and it's not in English.
Is
which
that
is,
black licorice?
Which
'Cause
is
that I will
concerning.
jam.
I think this is black licorice. The problem with it is, I think it's in, I don't know, it might be Swedish or Danish or something.
Probably German if it's black licorice.
It's not German, actually. I looked it up. I can't remember what it was, but it's
like anise
it's
candy
not
or
in
something
English. And
like
the other
that?
thing that's concerning is a lot of the labels been sharpied off,
No.
which I'm really not a fan of.
Oh man.
But it's not expired, so I guess I'm going to open them.
What comes around goes around. I just wanted you guys to remind you guys.
Karma's a
about
motherfucker.
this. Is it black licorice?
Smell it. It smells
kinda
terrible.
like-
There's
it
a
smells
0%
kinda like
chance I'll be able to
raisins.
Smell it.
It smells really bad. Yeah, I told you.
Oh, it's so
smells terrible.
bad. Oh,
I assume we eat that first. I can't imagine the water's worse than this.
I'll hand that to Robbie so he
Does
can
it got sugars?
have some.
Why is it hard?
I think it's licorice.
it's supposed to
kind
be a
of gummy.
chewable.
It's not chewable. It's hard.
All right,
It's like a
I'm gonna
multi.
try one of these.
What the?
You first.
Oh
You can't even chew it.
nope. What the fuck was that?
Do we have to? Do I have to?
We have to for solidarity reasons, right?
Do I have a place to spit it?
I don't have anything to
Paper.
Can we cause a timeout?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything besides black to drink. I forgot to bring a bottle of water with me.
I got nothing. I got no backup. I did not.
Oh,
Do you have anything better over there to follow it up?
yes,
with?
I do.
All
I
right.
promise.
I don't.
Fuck was that?
Can I just lick it?
Just don't put it in your mouth. Just lick it. Just lick it.
Oh
Oh, it's so salty.
God! It tastes like sweat.
Oh, what the fuck? Nobody actually eats that, right?
There's no way.
It was on Amazon. I looked it up.
Oh, it's so bad.
I gotta drink the water.
Oh, okay. We're drinking water.
I can't. Nope.
Okay, that mostly tastes like water.
That's
That
just
was-
water.
it's
Oh,
okay.
thank God it is, too. Just water.
Jesus, yeah, drink some of that, Robbie. Does anybody need more?
It's like the worst tea ever.
But I have a
It's
hard
like a
time
weird-
drinking it because it looks so bad.
If anybody needs more,
No,
it's-
no, we don't need more.
You're good.
I will. I didn't lick my.
Robbie needs more.
I didn't lick my black piece very much, so I'll be honest. I need.
Oh,
I feel like I owe it to Michael to get a better taste.
No, mistake.
trying to-
Mistake.
I'm trying to read through the Sharpie. I can't, though.
There's like nothing good about that.
It is salty and disgusting.
And like it tastes like rubber, like a
I
tire.
yeah, well, it
Why
didn't-
did they Sharpie the ingredient or the nutritional facts?
I don't
I
know.
want to know the facts.
It's probably poison.
So
Fucking radical podcast.
we're certainly not giving it.
Podcast war. Fucking on now.
We'll figure something out.
Yep.
We have your address.
Jeez.
Oh man.
Oh, that was terrible. I didn't expect that to be that bad.
No, I was hoping it would be something sweet and like. That's
That was mean.
who eats that?
They legitimately meant don't knife them because we're gonna.
Here's the bag. If anybody Venco, if anybody can
Venco.
see it on.
It's so
YouTube.
bad.
I've never experienced. That was amazing.
Oh man.
I will be throwing. Oh, it smells
It
terrible.
did really taste like
We
sweat.
need an intern.
It did.
To take this away.
Yeah.
like body sweat. Here, I'll just.
This
I gotta
is
just close
This
it. I
makes
gotta
me
place
wish I had the wasabi peanuts that we had at work the other day. It's like the most intense.
Stash safely away.
It was the most intense, hot feeling ever, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. Like it's just a wave.
I like wasabi.
yeah, it's like
peanuts
you
and stuff.
take a bite of it. It's a
I'm a
wave
giant
of heat,
pansy.
and then it's done.
Giant pansy.
Yeah, it's
Can't do
weird.
it.
So anyway, if you want the water, I guess that's fine.
The water's okay.
If it's got electrolytes in it, so be
kinda
it.
reminds
I feel
me-
like it's for sure too expensive though, right?
It probably
it's gotta
is.
be like $3. It reminds me of tea. a little bit.
It is kind of like tea. It's just like cold, watered down tea.
Yeah, because it's not.
It's not bad though.
There's something about it that makes it not like water and more like.
There's something in it, like you know how tea, even when it's brewed through a filter, it's still got like little bit of really fine particle in it. That's kind of what this is like. But I guess that's the minerals. It's probably the poison.
Yeah,
I assume.
Yeah, the alkaline.
Whatever
else is alkaline?
whatever they put into
batteries.
True, very
Just
true. It's definitely poison, poisoning your body.
This is Radical Podcast trying to take out the competition.
Yeah, literally kill us.
If all three of them die, we get their listeners.
The advantage of this is that so far we haven't sent any listeners their way because we haven't actually used the right word yet. So
that's fine.
Radical
perfect
podcast.
Radical podcast.
There's probably a
look that on.
There's
look
a
at
real.
that,
There's
look
a real
at that
podcast
on iTunes.
Yeah, there probably is a podcast.
A radical
called
podcast. Like, where's all these listeners coming from?
This is weird. A lot of downloads this week. All right. Anyway, can somebody, Adam? Do you have something in your cooler that will make you feel better?
So I have an opener.
Oh, we're doing
actually.
The opener?
Is that where we're going? Do we have any other? We want to talk about these.
So I want to talk about this real quick. So these are not
right.
These are Joe from Zion repping the shirt today too. You
guys remember Zion?
He's got decals for us. Got them here. Robbie's got a picture of them on YouTube. Also, they're like the decals that we had before. They're a tiny bit bigger, so we got white and black. Here's the deal I'm going to make for listeners. If you write a review on iTunes, screenshot it and send it to the page. Man. Send it to the page. I will personally send you one of these. Tell me white or black.
Does that count if they already have?
Yes.
I feel like we need to include them.
Okay, fine.
Devout listeners can have.
If you've got a review, screenshot it. Send it. Points for the most creative one that doesn't get blocked by iTunes. I will send you also a keychain. How about that?
Ooh,
because I still got those. So the most creative one will get keychain and a decal of their choice, white or black. But just screenshot it. And FYI, if you say anything, if you swear or anything that they might consider hate speech, which funny. I get it. Trust me. We've had some funny reviews. They don't make it. They don't make it through. So just be aware of that.
Also, if you're not an iTunes user, we do have them on Facebook.
Yep.
Prefer you to use them on iTunes.
iTunes or Facebook. Facebook will count, I guess.
So we'll do that for a couple weeks, and then we'll have them for sale.
I hope we run out of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find us at events this year, and we'll probably forget them, but we'll try not to.
We'll slap them on your car. Yeah.
We'll put them on your car without your permission.
Yep.
Ooh, I like it.
That's the other option that we can.
That's if you don't give us a review.
Ooh.
There you go. It's incentive.
You get a free one, but we pick it.
We pick where it goes, and it's going to be crooked as shit.
In the middle of your windshield.
Yeah. Okay, so that's done. I think I'm done now.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, the opener.
Yes, presented by Factor Fabrication still, might add. We're out of the groove. You get off for 1 week, and everything gets all fucked up, but that's fine.
So, a couple of weeks ago, I kind of talked about this, that I had stopped at Factor Fabrication to talk to Booney. Had a few extra minutes in my life, which doesn't happen often, so I figured I'd spend them with a friend, right?
Heck yeah.
So he told me, and I quote, "Bring back the water. It's the best part."
Okay, well, we brought back some water.
We did that.
We brought, So I was thinking about it, and
I think I got to drink this because he's got more water.
yeah,
I still have weird colas.
You guys need an empty cup. You need an empty cup, Robbie.
Oh,
drink
fine.
up.
That's fine.
So this, I promise, is not going to hurt you nearly as much as it hurts me.
What is that? Is it spicy?
Is it LaCroix?
No.
Damn it.
No, it's not a LaCroix. It's not a LaCroix. It's probably equally as awesome for you guys. So I was thinking about it, and I realized as much shade as I've thrown at, particularly Michael, about drinking these weird fucking expensive-ass sparkling waters, which apparently Booney is a huge fan of the sparkling water
he is.
thing. I don't know that I've ever actually had just a straight sparkling water. I've had that terrible orange LaCroix thing that
I gave you at
that
first event.
That was bad.
So that's, and then whatever I bought at Grid Life that was equally as terrible. Do you remember that the first year? It was 2 years ago. We documented that on our Instagram and everything.
I can't remember what that was.
So I decided as I was walking through the Hy-Vee that
it's a Perrier.
I figured I should buy some of this.
You need to know what it's like.
I'm probably gonna hate it,
You're gonna hate it for sure.
but I bought a bottle of Perrier.
What did that cost you? Like $8?
No, that was $2.79.
That's not bad.
That's a giant bottle, though. That's
is
the
a large
smallest
bottle.
one they had. I didn't want one this big because Michael's just gonna end up drinking it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep it. Obviously.
I'm not bringing it home. Let's be real here. So yeah,
Does this taste like
my hands are all nasty.
got it.
You get this for me.
after he rubs them on the cab?
Yeah, let me get my hands up
So-
all in this.
For those that don't know, Perrier is just sparkling mineral
Tonic water, ain't it?
Nah, it's not tonic water. Tonic water has. I'm gonna have to remember what's in tonic water exactly. I don't remember.
Not
Tonic water has another mineral in it.
No. That makes it weird.
Yeah, you're gonna have a weird colored water after the alkaline
Black.
water. Here, you can pour yourself
Yeah,
some
yeah,
out.
that's probably a good idea.
But so anyway, yeah, Perrier is just mineral water with carbonation in it. Really,
There's no
That's all there
flavor?
is to it. There's no flavor. It just
no
is what
flavor.
it
It's
is.
just straight water.
But if it's sparkling,
You
it
got a
needs
lid
fla-
for
it
this? I
needs
feel like this is a
sweet.
Yep.
bad idea with all
Yep.
these electronics and
Yep,
whatnot.
there you go.
So, have you never had Perrier either, Robbie?
Sucks.
Sucks.
It needs flavor.
I agree. See, this is what I'm worried about.
Hy-Vee water
I don't-
is so much better.
This is
It's fine.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's fine.
Oh, it's not though.
It needs flavor. Did you get one of those like Mio? It makes you squirt
I
things.
should have.
That's what they. That's the advertisement. It's
no, it's not.
Yeah, I think it is
if you-
actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
If you look up the Mio advertisement, it's an M with a big droplet in the middle, like a girl's legs.
Jeez, you got to be kidding me? Really?
That is not good though. I don't know why.
This,
Why do you
this-
like that?
The Mio stuff or this?
No, this.
Because
It's
it is
refreshing.
good.
It's got
refreshing.
a weird aftertaste to it.
You realize if you go to like any other country in the world and you ask them for water, that's what they're going to give you.
See, look at their logo.
I'm never gonna drink water then.
Oh, I see it now. That
that's-
is how are they getting away with that?
That
I see it.
squirt a little, squirt a lot. That's their advertisement.
How are they doing this?
It looks like spread legs. with
I
a big-
see it now. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Someone pointed that out to me a couple years ago, and now I can't look at that without thinking.
Oh my god.
It'll make you squirt a lot.
We had some college kid intern that told me that the rage for him, this has been a few years ago when that stuff first came out, was you take a glass of vodka and you just squirt enough Mio in it that it doesn't taste like vodka anymore, and then you drink it.
I had a friend that was like blackout drunk in college one time, and we ran out of mixers. So he put vodka in a glass, and then he went to his cupboard and pulled out Gatorade powder and just like threw it in there. And then he was so drunk he didn't even like really mix it in. He just kind of took a fork in there and slapped it against the sides a little bit.
Close enough.
And then it was still chunky and like you could see it just falling outside. And he started drinking it. And I don't think he remembers any of it. And then he took his friend's glass that like they had like rhinestoned it because it was like his pimp cup because it was his birthday. But it was glass, so he just like took it and chucked it into the sink. Shattered everywhere. And then his girlfriend cried. Oh, that was the best college visit ever.
College. So anyway, I'm not drinking the rest of that
Sweet. I'll keep
Perrier,
it.
so that's
It's-
all you. Because
it's
that's
okay,
terrible.
but
I
yeah,
would
it's
rather
just-
drink black. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I would too.
The
Actually.
black isn't too bad. Be okay.
So
Squirt a little.
Yeah.
put this-
No.
I forgot. I need to talk about this too. Shit, son.
Go for it. What do you
Forgot
got
to talk-
next?
So I have this coaster that our friend David Allen with 3DA or 3DPA, I think it's 3DPA,
yeah.
printed. He with his 3D printer, and it's fucking sweet. It's a golf coaster.
It is.
It's a parody coaster.
It's this
Yes,
is the real
well,
deal.
it's
This
legit-
is
it's
for
legit.
sure legit. But then he also made me one of our parody logo stickers.
Oh yeah,
He made me the sticker, which I was pretty excited
well, that's
about.
awesome.
Yeah.
That turned out really good.
That's the one
It
that
does
Thomas.
turn out really
Yeah,
good.
Thomas
Thomas
designed
designed
Thomas
it. Yeah.
designed for us.
Yeah.
So that's going on the back of the Omni.
And for anyone that likes that sticker design, there's a shirt that you should buy. It's available on our store.
There you go.
Ah,
I
you
mean,
did.
not enough people have bought that shirt. I'm just
No,
saying. Everyone
exactly.
go buy it. I can't believe it's not the
I have
most
to buy
popular
another
shirt.
one because mine's got barbecue sauce. stains
It's a
on it.
great design.
It is a cool design. I thought that would sell like hotcakes, to be honest.
Right.
I really did.
We
did
sold
too.
a few out of the gate, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pick up the slack, people. It's race season.
anything else for your opener?
I got like 3 or 4 open
Just keep going.
topics.
Fuck it,
so
just
we
keep
can
going. We
just
got
roll
no
with
topic
thing,
for this
'cause,
show. Yeah.
we decided we have no topic because I had a whole bunch of things I
We got
wanted
like
to
10
talk
things
about.
to talk about.
So first of all, let's talk about Alex Roy's new thing. So Alex Roy has recently created this human driving association.
Yeah,
It's his new thing. They followed us on Twitter, so
woo,
go us. Basically, it's him trying to make this deal where people will get together and try and help with autonomous driving laws and stuff like that to make sure that there's always a place for us to drive cars. Is I think what he's trying to do.
Right.
He's trying to be proactive rather than reactive about that sort of stuff, which is cool.
Admirable.
And he
Which,
wrote,
to be fair, we did tell him to do on our show, I might add.
Yes.
you know what? I think
That's what
We actually did. If you go back and listen to that
point.
episode, he said somebody needs to do this.
And we
I
all said,
I think that person is you.
Maybe it should be. What's his response?
And so here we are.
Shit.
So
And then
this is as a direct
So here
result
we
of that
are.
conversation. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? That didn't even dawn
Yep.
on me.
If you
Son
go,
of a gun.
seriously go back and listen to the Alex
You're all
Roy
welcome.
interview. It's in there.
You're all welcome.
This is a result of us.
Yeah, we'll take full
I'm taking
claim to this.
because he's
Yeah,
not going
100%.
to listen to this. So
And even if he does and he sends us a message like you guys are assholes, that's a win for me.
I'm good.
Because that means he listens.
That means he's coming back on and talking
that's
about
also a win.
Yeah, like, well, guess what? You have to come back
on
on
the show and
set
defend
the
your
record
statement, so.
straight. Yeah, absolutely.
it. I'm good with that.
So anyway, he wrote up a manifesto, which I don't know that I like the word manifesto
Because it sounds too communist.
It's,
yeah,
it's a little pretentious.
It has some negative, like undertones.
Yeah, good word.
For me, I don't know why. Yeah, I just think of like cults and communism.
Oh, it's a
have
cult, don't you worry.
manifestos, but okay, whatever. That's fine. So I had you guys read through it before we started. If you want to find it, what is it? The link.
Humandriving.org.
There you go. And then right at the very top of the page, you can click on manifesto and you can read it yourself. It's got a couple of bullet points. I mostly just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on this because I thought it was kind of interesting.
I think it's well thought out. I think it's a good talking point. Like even if it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke, like the Human Driving Association, but I think if people kind of actually read through it, and there's good points because it's not about anti-autonomy. It's not about pro-driving only. It's about we have the right to choose to drive, and we also deserve to have them roll out autonomy in a way that's smart and safe. And that's really what he's focusing on. Like, we're not saying don't do autonomy, or he's not saying don't do autonomy. It's let's not be fucking idiots about it.
Yeah. You, Michael. I feel like you usually have these deep, well thought out things to say about stuff.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I think that this does set out to create some sort of standard for how autonomy actually gets used, which is important. And obviously we've seen with the Uber crash that there needs to be some more, regulate. I'm not a huge fan of regulation, but there does need to be some regulation or some bounds set for any autonomous vehicle so that it continues to be safe, especially during a phase when there are still a lot of unknowns. I mean, even if the unknowns have been considered, the actual real world scenario of those things happening is not been tested fully, and so that was obviously somebody died as a result of that, which is very sad. But yeah, he talks about pro steering wheel and having a choice to actually take your life into your own hands, I guess. And I don't know. I guess it's all good. I don't have any problems with it, I guess. No.
Yeah, I didn't. Like you said, it's very well thought out, which
Right.
I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Most of the time, the stuff he has to say is pretty well thought out and whatnot. He seems like a very intelligent man.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it is, I don't want to get too deeply into this and have people bring politics in it, but it does have some parallels to the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I was going to mention that with the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does talk about actually having a true constitutional amendment that protects people's.
Yep.
And in my understanding, the real reason for that is just because limiting mobility is extremely dangerous from a freedom perspective, and so that's where he's coming from, talking about actually having a constitutional amendment that protects driving, because anytime you start to limit mobility, like if we don't have a choice of mobility, it could create some issues if there was ever a time when maybe our government didn't have our best interests in mind. See where that starts getting really sketchy?
Yeah, it gets muddy really quick.
Yeah, or we could talk about another country that actually does have a legitimate dictatorship or an actual issue with governmental corruption more so than the United States does. If you have protection for drivers, or I should say protection for mobility, that gives people freedom to some extent. So I think that's a lot of this, and that might be the thing that he and this association actually lean on as something that that's actually their what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically what they're pushing is protecting this through an amendment to the Constitution, and that's going to be what they're going to stand on. So.
And it's not just about autonomy. Number 4 was the one that stood out to me the most, and it's just like driving in general. Number 4, we support raising driver license standards. Driving is a privilege, not a right. Abuse it, lose it, and periodic retesting is essential. And regardless of autonomy, I think that's the biggest thing about driving. That my biggest hang-up is that you expect to get a license at 16. You expect to just pass it first time, and you expect to never have to take that test again, regardless of what you do.
People get so upset when they get it taken away from them, too. And
right.
An overwhelming majority of the time that you lose a license, you probably was of your own actions.
Absolutely.
And you act like it's such a big deal that you've lost it.
No. Yeah, that's. I think it's a total misrepresentation to think that, I deserve to drive. It's my right. No, it's not.
Yeah, and I think it's reasonable to allow people to say that they do not want that responsibility too. So if we agree that we have a technology standard that's safe enough to allow people to travel without having to actually control the vehicle, then I think it's perfectly reasonable for people to say, I do not feel comfortable, or I don't feel skilled enough, or I haven't done enough training in order to operate a vehicle personally, and so I will not.
Right.
I think again, it goes back, that's the same thing with guns, too. If somebody says that they don't feel comfortable or safe with that, we're not going to tell them tough shit.
Yeah, you
have to carry every, you know what I mean? So
right.
I think, I think overall that's good in taking that into consideration. Now, again, you have to have a standard of autonomous driving that allows people to say, I absolutely need no skill or knowledge of operating a vehicle. Can you get to that level? I'm not sure. Because this talk, again, like we talked about, having pro driver controls, like the ability to override the vehicle's autonomous settings.
Right.
So could someone be 100% in a position where they would say, no, I'm not going to have any of those skills? I don't know that maybe we could get to that point. I don't know. Well, as it evolves, I guess it'll change, and maybe this manifesto will change as well. But
one of the things that we had mentioned when we did that MIT quiz thing, however long ago that was, over a year now probably, was the revelation that realistically I could have my car take my preschooler to school every morning, right?
Right.
But my preschooler sure as hell doesn't have the fine motor skills to drive a car.
Absolutely.
So is that okay? We as a society probably need to decide that. And I'm not sure I would let my preschooler just hop in a car and take it anyway, even if I know for certain that he can't take control of it, because I want to make sure that someone's there to receive him. That would be my biggest concern.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Outside of the whole driving thing. But if they figure out a way to make that, concern less, should we allow that?
Maybe.
I don't know if you should.
In theory, you should be able to let anybody just hop in the car.
I suppose. Just seems so weird.
It does. It's such a foreign concept.
But
to me.
there's a lot of things that, we consider normal here every day that
super weird
50, 60 years ago would have been insanity. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be, I guess in my opinion, it'll be interesting to see how this develops. Like if he's selling T-shirts, or if he's, he's actually gonna.
He sold one shirt. I'll tell you that much.
He sold Robbie a shirt. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not just a gimmick to sell shirts. I hope
it could just be a marketing exercise.
I hope he's kind of dead serious about it.
It really could be. It wouldn't take much.
I don't think that that's the Alex Roy way.
No, he sells his Polizzi shirts and his Alex Roy stuff and.
Right, but I don't think he would have gone through all this effort just to sell some shirts.
No, absolutely not.
That just doesn't seem like something he would do.
No,
maybe.
And he seems pretty damn dedicated to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the stance behind it, rather.
Right.
He does have the platform to get his message out, through the drive or through any of his own social media. So he has more influence than a lot of people would. Plus, he's done the things that are illegal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's had the full gamut of experiences of what a human being is actually capable of, given enough training or practice. You know, so from that perspective, he's got the clout, I guess, to have this message and to spread it.
So, yeah, it was just interesting. I think everyone should go and read it. So I'll throw a link in the show notes on our webpage if you want to find it there. Otherwise, Google's your friend.
Humandriving.org or find Alex Roy and you will find this.
Yeah. So they have a Twitter account specifically for this.
Yep.
They probably have an Instagram. I don't know if they have a Facebook or not. Didn't look into it that deeply. So, boom.
Perfect.
One down. Two down.
Two down. What's next?
So every year Jeep does that Easter Jeep Safari thing, right?
Yes.
And they come out with these crazy conceptual Jeeps, and every year there's a couple in there that are cool, there's a couple in there that are lame, and there is what there is. So this year the one that I was particularly interested in was they took this frankly terribly colored Jeep. It's some sort of mint green puke thing going on. I don't even know what Jeepster?
Wait,
probably a Jeepster.
Is it a Jeepster?
Is that a Jeepster? I
Sure.
don't know. It looks like an old Jeep Grand Cherokee.
I don't know.
But they put a modern drivetrain in it.
Oh,
like
really?
a 5.7 liter out of a Dodge. They put coilovers on the back instead of leaf springs. It's got the steering box out of a JK, which is the outgoing Jeep Wrangler. So it looks like interior-wise, exterior-wise, everything. It looks bone stock all the way down original.
That's stupid green on the inside.
That's so
yeah,
much
it's
green.
so much green on the inside. And then
And it's smooth.
yeah.
Like they took the time to make it
No,
smooth.
I think that's the way it was.
Oh, really?
I think that they were
like
just
a stamped plate.
Yeah, it was just a big stamped plate. But it's all modern underpinnings and it's modern suspension.
It's a
and
Wagoneer, ain't it?
I don't know what they are. Wagoneer.
We don't know shit
I
about
don't-
Jeeps,
don't
do we?
know anything about
Wagoneer.
Wagoneer.
It's a Wagoneer.
It's a Wagoneer, everybody.
Who cares?
I love this concept. I think it's sweet.
They should do it with a cooler car.
That's a cool thing.
Wagoneers.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it would have been cooler if it was like an international travelette
There
or
you
something
go.
like
See,
that. But
now you're getting
you know,
the right
the
idea.
international doesn't make vehicles anymore. So
That's true.
what's a man to do? But I like the idea, and I think that it's really cool. So
What's it with Dodge people taking like old style and just putting in the new chassis under it? Because they did that with
that's not really a Dodge person thing.
Well, I've seen it a bunch of times, like the Challengers. Like they'll take the old Challenger and put the new Challenger under it.
Yeah, it's also like a Corvette thing and a Camaro.
Yeah, you're just
thing,
forgetting that
Chevelle
everybody
thing,
else
and,
swaps everything.
That's
yeah.
different though. They stuff an engine. in
No,
there. They don't
they
change
put
the
modern
whole.
drivetrains under.
Do they really?
They put the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. They'll,
Man, I don't pay attention to nothing.
yeah, they buy like a chassis from somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah,
See, I've seen the weird
absolutely.
kids.
Who
but
is that makes all those chassis? I can't think of.
I don't know.
it's the
for
one
sure.
that Icon loves so very, very much. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head though.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you know, Robbie, that you can buy a 1969 Camaro?
Oh, you get,
right
like,
now?
like just
Oh, absolutely, top
Yeah,
to
he's
bottom.
like completed.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, not like check a box and they send it to you, but you
Yeah.
can buy the unibody.
I knew you
which
could
would
buy.
be-
I knew you could buy everything
You
and
just need a
build it in your
VIN tag.
garage.
You just need a VIN tag, or I would guess that at least here in this state, you could probably register it as a kit car.
You could probably register.
I would
as a
imagine in
kit car.
Iowa you could.
I'm sure you could probably call up Classic Industries or whoever it is and be like, I want 169 Camaro. Here's my credit card number, and they would figure out all the parts that you needed, all the body panels. you needed.
drag, drop.
Yeah, they probably have that set up in a
I would,
file.
I would
somewhere that just-
imagine.
whoop, that'll be $35,000.
Oh, I
sir.
would bet that it's
$65,000.
probably- Yeah, there we
No,
go.
it used to be that the back end of the car, like the
unibody.
yeah, it was like 9 or 12 somewhere in there.
Wow.
that bad.
No, I didn't think it was that bad. It's probably more like 12 now, but
At least.
I didn't seem that bad. And then you just need obviously all the suspension, but then you need the front wings, hood, bumpers, grill, headlights, taillights, all that stuff.
Glass,
obviously.
interior.
Wiring.
which I'm sure they sell all of that.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you just put an LS in it.
You just get a
We still got to do like wiring for the headlights and shit.
wiring's not. I don't think Wiring Specialties makes a harness.
Not for that car.
I bet somebody makes a
There's-
69 LS harness, and you just buy that.
Oh, there's zero doubt in my mind that that's
There's
not
there's an LS standalone you can get. They can just,
or
it goes, it goes
you
into
could do that
anything
too. Yep.
because a lot of people do that with 240s.
So, yeah, that is you could do that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that this Jeep was cool because it looks so original. and utilitarian, and
it's your favorite color?
It is your favorite color, green.
So the other thing is that I don't know if I've ever expressed this on the podcast, but I despise red interiors. It's got like this red maroon interior thing going on. So like there's nothing about the color combo of that entire vehicle that I in any way, shape, or form approve of. But the general idea is really cool, and it's very well executed. I think it looks rad.
I'm not a Jeep guy, but yeah, I like the idea.
Because like the other ones are just not that interesting to me. They're not even in this article because frankly I just didn't care. You can see one in the background of the picture Robbie's got there. If you care that much, you can probably Google it. But
yeah,
they're just like modern Jeeps with lift kits and fender flares on them. They're not that interesting.
We talked about this last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, because they
had that sweet cab over one.
They had the cab over one.
That was fucking sweet.
And they had like a really cheap stripped down.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Whatever it would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a military spec almost.
But it was like cloth bench seat and like no top and no doors.
More things need bench seats.
Absolutely.
Bench seats are rad.
I don't disagree.
For like anything that's not aggressive driving.
The Sunday Cruiser. That's
Sunday Cruise is better. Dates
are great.
Much
Dude,
better.
I had a bench seat car for my first car.
Have you tried to date anybody with a console? It's terrible. It's the worst.
Especially if there's a manual shifter in the middle.
It's terrible.
It's even worse. It gets very complicated.
See, the problem is all these car designers are married.
Yeah, right. They want that gap.
It's the same reason you can't get an actual handbrake lever anymore. They're all buttons because we all know what happens when you are executing perfectly, or you were perfectly executing handbrake turns. It's true. It's all downhill from there when you're a parent. So,
okay, what's next?
So my last one. We're gonna wrap this up. So are you guys familiar with the name Offenhauser?
No.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are?
Yes.
So they were a performance engine and I think even parts builder, because I think you could get like Offenhauser intake manifolds for like...
I seem to remember...
For like small block Chevys and stuff like that.
Maybe some Offenhauser flathead.
Oh yeah,
V8
lots of
parts.
flathead stuff.
Heads and stuff.
So they the thing that I want to talk about them specifically about is they made a motor that for years and years was the dominant motor at the Indy 500. And there's a specific thing about this motor that I find very interesting, and I kind of wonder why more cars don't do that now. So, as a modern day motors, and this has been that way since the dawn of the motor, as far as for the most part, you have a block and you have a or multiple cylinder heads, right?
Yeah.
Separate units, completely separate units, and especially when you live in that Subaru life, head gaskets are
all
issue,
the time,
right?
Yeah.
Major issue. Offenhauser, the race motor that they built, the head and the block were one piece. So you built the motor. You built the motor from the top down, upside down.
Okay.
So you'd have a motor on a stand. You'd have it with the crank journals facing upwards. You'd put the valves in, put the springs in from the bottom, and then you could put the piston and connecting rod in, put the crank over that, put the caps over the connecting rods. You've got your motor built, you know. And what that prevents is, number one, you don't have any problem with head gasket failures. Number one, under extreme pressure or temperatures. And although I'm sure that this was not thought of when the motor was built because it came out in like the 20s, later on they probably found out that it also is really good when you're using lots and lots of boost.
Yes.
So Larry Larson's Pro Mod S10 drag week contraption, right? One of the interesting things about that motor, it's a 481X Proline Racing Hemi based on a big block, 5-inch bore spacing. It's that standard motor that all those Pro Mod guys are using. One of the big difference between his motor, the street motor, if you will, and the ones that all the other guys are using for their non-street car builds is that the cooling system for the heads and the block are separate. And the reason he did that is because he didn't want coolant to get into the cylinder heads when he was lifting the head off of, or get into the cylinders when he was lifting the head off the block under boost.
Jeez.
So when that happens, all you do is blow a head gasket. You can finish a pass. You're probably not going to bend any rods or break any pistons or anything like that like you do when you fill a cylinder with water.
Right.
So that is a billet motor top to bottom. 150% custom built by Proline Racing in their shop. Why are they doing it that way? Can you guys think of any reason why you wouldn't do it where the cylinder head and the block are one piece? Because the only reason that it exists that way would be simplicity of manufacturing a million years ago. Because by modern day manufacturing standards, I don't even think that's the case.
No.
But long time ago, I could see where having a block and separate heads would have been a simpler manufacturing method. Now, today, I don't think that's the case. Today, I'm surprised, frankly, that you aren't buying cars that's all one cast piece.
Or 3D printed.
Whatever it is. But is there anything that, I mean, that seems like something somebody should have thought of by now. Why am I the one coming up with it?
I don't have a good answer.
No, I don't really have a good answer either. I mean, maybe in a maintenance scenario, if you had a lifter fail or something.
It's kind of an all or nothing deal.
Well, yeah, you'd have to take the whole thing apart.
You can probably put it, like if you break a valve spring, as long as that spring stays in place or something like that, you can replace it. But you could still replace that off the top too. You wouldn't have to pull the head to replace that if it didn't do anything else, you know. If it didn't drop a valve, which if it dropped a valve, you're screwed anyway. What's it matter?
Right.
Yeah, you still got to take it apart. There's not really much that you would service just the heads for and then put them back on. Short of like well, you could have, potentially valve guides. Valve guides you could take, valve guides you could remove the heads, have them replaced, put new valves in, put the heads back on without taking the motor out. But that's getting really specific. For most people, that's not an issue. Like I could see on a race motor, like a mild race motor, not a drag week race motor.
Right.
You may want them two pieces because you may at some point decide you wanted to take the heads off to change the valves or to change compression ratio because you change the capacity of the head, the actual heads, basically the head, the top of the cylinders.
Yep.
You can change that capacity and then that changes your compression.
Or even like this year I only had the budget for these heads, but 2 years from now I'll have the budget for those heads.
Right, exactly. Or
that I get, but for
a normal person
at a peak level like Larry Larson's build, that's a no expenses spared build. That already has the best heads that money can buy in it. To me, that going through all that effort of custom machining that block and those cylinder heads so that the coolant passages don't join to each other, wouldn't it have been easier just to make it all one unit? Because he's still blowing head gaskets if he's lifting the head.
Right. Well, I'm curious if he...
Which means he's still rebuilding between rounds.
Well, if he's got enough pressure to lift the head, I'm curious if it would just turn into a grenade at that point. If you don't have a way to release that pressure.
Maybe you do want a failure point.
Take a ring or it would blow it out the cylinder wall or something.
Yeah, or
maybe you do want a
fender
failure
rod.
point.
Yeah, by having it lift.
Maybe it's kind of like a clutch where that's your weak point for a reason.
Yeah, so that it doesn't turn into a grenade.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not an engine expert, so I can...
That's not a terrible thought, though.
Obviously did not research this one.
Right. That's not a terrible thought, though. I like where your head's going with that.
I can only imagine. Yeah, you turn the boost all the way up and boom!
Yeah, you're making
everyone's dead.
95 PSI and your motor makes like 4,500 horsepower or something crazy.
Yeah, you only get catastrophic failure then.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Very true.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
I suppose at that point, you are only getting catastrophic failure, whereas right now, at least maybe he has the chance of just putting a head gasket in it and making it to the next round.
Yeah, he's at the real pointy end of the stick there.
Right.
That's a one-off scenario. But, like, why couldn't, Ford had all those head gasket failures on the EcoBoost motor.
Boots.
Yeah, why couldn't they make that
Any
a single...
open deck motor?
Why couldn't they make that? Yeah, open deck motors, for instance. Why couldn't they make those... Well, could you make an open deck motor?
No, I don't think you could.
Well, maybe that's why. You'd have to manufacture it out of a solid piece of aluminum.
Yeah. I think you could cast it. You could cast it as one piece.
But would you be able to take material out of... You wouldn't be able to take material out of the inside of the block, though.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
Yeah,
because that's...
The complexity of your cavities would be limited.
Yeah, that's why they do, open... Those open... or
Open decks?
Open decks is because you can take material out of basically not the cylinder wall, but between the cylinder wall and the actual outside of the block, and you can make it lighter and it's less material. So
it works so well for them too.
Usually it doesn't work very well in performance motors, but maybe for your guy that's got a Chevy Sonic, that's a perfectly acceptable way to do it. Even though in some cases it would make sense to have a single cast unit for the head and the block, but I don't know. There's got to be some reason.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting that they were doing that in the 20s. That motor is probably one of the most winning motors in history, and that little 4-cylinder apparently made as even in the 50s and 60s with boost could make nearly 1,000 horsepower.
That's crazy.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the motor that was ran in a lot of Indy cars for a long, long, long time. Now, granted, it changed radically over the years, but it was all built off the same general idea. Mm-hmm. And if you go to the museum that's Speedway in Lincoln, we probably didn't realize it at the time because I didn't really know anything about it, but I'll bet you there's an entire section dedicated to that motor there.
Well, we'll have to go back and check it out.
We might be.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Now I'm just sitting here trying to assemble an engine in my head.
Right.
Well,
if I did this as one piece, how would I do it?
It would be hard to get the valves in there. You'd have to, I said, you have to assemble it upside down, but from the top of the motor down.
Yep.
Which would actually be as it sits from the bottom up.
Yeah, it'd be upside. Yep.
But because you'd have to flip it over and set the valve down in there, and then put a spring on it, and then you could run the piston and connecting rod in there, put the crank over it, put the caps on it, flip it back over, you got yourself a motor.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, you have the block sitting upright and you put the piston in with the crank already in there.
Right.
And then you connect the two.
Right.
So it's but I don't think that it doesn't make it radically more difficult to assemble that way.
And you could design for that to make it work.
Just got to make sure that you have your connecting rods in the right spot when you drop the crank in there. But
yeah,
might take two people.
Your cylinder order will be all fucked up if you don't get that right.
So,
oh man,
sweet.
Just an interesting, crazy historical racing.
It's an interesting thing to consider. If somebody can think of something, a reason that wouldn't work, or they don't.
I'm sure
obviously
it
did work.
It did for a while.
Yeah, it worked in a racing scenario. I don't know that motor was ever put in a street car, so
yeah,
I'm sure somebody knows more about it than we do.
I could maybe make the argument that if you had two lines, one that runs heads and one that runs blocks, you might be able to squeeze some efficiency out that way, because you could assemble those in tandem and then have a guy that ties them together instead of having one single line that does the whole motor. It's just a thought. I don't know if that would really save you a whole lot.
I do think that there is a lot of advantages even in a street motor for that design. Like a factory built motor, the way that they built Larry's motor, I think that makes a lot of sense too. Mm-hmm. Because,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I learned more about that than I really wanted to when I was going through the whole swap process, because at some point Chevy changed the way that the coolant travels through their motors.
The direction.
Yeah, so it goes in the old Gen 1 small blocks, it goes through the block first, which is not ideal, because if you think about it, that's where all your heat's coming from.
Yep.
So then it takes that heat and transfers it into the head. But on the Gen 2s and everything moving forward, it basically comes into the motor at the same point, but it goes through the one head first, then goes around to the other head, and then it goes through the block. So in that case, your kind of coolest point of the motor gets the coolest charge first, and then it goes down into the block. So you're really taking out the hottest point last and then running that through the radiator instead of transferring that heat up into the heads. So plus aluminum is it a better heat conductor?
Yes.
Or it's a worse heat conductor?
Better.
I can't remember. It runs cooler, whichever that.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that works.
Heat better.
Yeah, it dissipates heat better.
There you go.
Yes.
So obviously the coolant's cooler in that case, going down into the block and then, out. So it's probably not, maybe it's not as much of a you'd still have to consider it on an aluminum block too, but at that point, in the 90s, they knew that was an issue, so they changed the direction of the coolant flow.
Speaking of terrible coolant designs, since we're here anyway, the Omni, the thermostat housing, where it comes out of the motor and into the radiator, is on the front of the motor between cylinder 3 and 4. And so the coolant that's around cylinder 4 is kind of stagnant and just kind of hangs out there. And
perfect.
9 times out of 10, when you melt a cylinder in one of those motors, it's cylinder 4.
You don't say.
Weird, huh?
Wow.
So somebody makes this machine or machines this deal. You can put it goes over the thermostat housing. And I don't remember how it works exactly, but essentially I believe there's like a freeze plug on the side of the motor next to cylinder 4 that you take out and tap. And then you run a hose to this new thermostat housing, which bolts on the front of the original thermostat housing, but is actually a block-off plate on the back or something like that. And so it forces the coolant around that cylinder and then out through that bypass and back to where the thermostat housing is supposed to be, so it can hook in with the radiator. You just got to cut that hose like 2 inches shorter.
Interesting.
And that guy was making those for a while, and I was going to buy. He was doing like group buys, on a forum. He'd get 20, 30 of them, and then he'd make them all, and then you wouldn't hear from him for a year or two, and he'd come back. Well, I was going to order it the last time around, and I missed it, and he's talking like he probably won't bother doing it anymore.
Dang
so
it.
I was just going to buy it.
Hopefully someone else will sell theirs.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, so now everybody's like, "Oh, it's worth its weight in gold." I paid $100 for it. You're going to pay $2. Yeah. Type of shit.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there a basically like a supplier that holds all those parts? Like for Fiat, there's 3 or 4 of them in the United States where they have a catalog. It's just like Summit or Classic Industries or whatever.
So there's a couple of shops. There's one called Front Wheel Drive Performance, FWD Performance.
Okay.
They specialize in all front wheel drive Dodge platforms. So Omnis and Daytonas and Chargers all the way up through like the latest gen Neons, and then I think they were maybe even doing tickling around with some of the Dart stuff, but not a ton because they look at that as a Fiat. A lot of those people look down on that car in that community, which I find really weird. But whatever. There's 1 or 2 shops that just specialize in those cars, but most of them specialize, like I said, all the way through. Because there's not enough people just building
Omni stuff.
Omnis and Chargers, and that motor was used in a lot of places.
Yeah, I figured that if that was the case, they could just sell parts for those motors for the most part. Maybe somebody's got the stamps for the panels or whatever, and they could produce
there are
those.
No body parts. Nobody makes aftermarket, or nobody is stamping body parts for them. There was a lot of NOS stuff that made it out there, and so that stuff still exists. But that's about it.
Nothing new.
No, there's somebody that makes like the weather stripping and the felt things for the windows.
Yep.
Whatever that is across the top of the window, Mm-hmm. Some people make that shit, but that's about it. So
interesting.
It's kind of, if you want to restore one of those cars, it is kind of a frustrating process at this point. It's going to be a lot of time spent on eBay and Craigslist and junkyards just looking for that last piece of trim because you need it, and so does everybody else. So, like my grill that's broken, and I'll never find another one of.
You're just screwed.
So
interesting. I don't know why. I didn't think there were any more people restoring Fiats than there are Omnis, but apparently there's enough of a market to support that. Now, I know, but it's the same scenario. That engine's super popular,
right?
Maybe not necessarily here, but in Europe,
right?
So they import a lot of stuff.
It's probably just some guy running it out of his garage. It's probably not even a full-time gig for him.
There's a couple big ones. One guy bought out another company. It's decent size. I mean, it might be like just Subi Speed or just FT86 size,
right?
But just that for the whole range, and like it's not going to get any bigger. Like that's it.
If anything, it's going to shrink over time.
Yeah, and your profitability is not as good.
No,
because you're having to probably import parts from Europe and not China or Japan or wherever. But so I don't know. It's a business. There's Auto Recombi and there's Midwest Bayless.
But Auto Recombi makes stuff for like all sorts of Fiats and even maybe touches on some Alpha platforms and stuff like that.
Maybe that's how they can make money, is by supporting 131s,
modern 500s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too.
Well, Auto Recombi doesn't do as much of that, but no, some of them do. I mean, the Alfa Romeo Spider. You'll usually carry parts for that, so that's
Is anybody
probably
touching
just
the
as
new
many
one?
of those.
The 124? Any of those guys?
Not really. Auto Recombi has one, and like they have one. Actually, they bought one and then sold it and then bought an Abarth, but I don't know. Nobody really picked that up. The Hoonigan had a race series, or not a race series, but they had a couple of cars that were Hoonigan cars.
Yeah, those were the rally car.
Yeah, and I think they had like 2 or 3 of them.
A surprisingly affordable car.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
You can buy it?
Well, I don't know if you can buy it, but they have a price for it. I think you probably have to know a guy who knows a guy to get it, but I think it was less than 50.
Interesting.
For the race car with the long
good.
travel rally suspension and all that stuff.
Because how much was the Spec Miata when we talked about that? It was like
I don't
50
remember.
or 60,
It was
wasn't it?
probably.
high.
It was way up there.
I don't remember.
So, but no, I mean, not really. Nobody really picked it up and ran with it. It wasn't popular in SCCA.
Do you remember that one that showed up at Grid Life last year?
Yeah, that was
with
one
of the Hoonigan.
Sarah.
I don't remember what her name is. It was a search for a girl driver thing that
Yeah.
Hoonigan did, but that was with Hoonigan and Dodge. She was
Yeah,
there with
yep.
Dodge for that.
Yeah, I do
Or
remember
with
that.
FCA.
I think they had 2 of them, didn't they?
I think there were 2.
There was
of
a
them
backup
there.
one.
I think there were 2 of them there.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't really go any farther than that. I don't know why.
I don't know. They're sweet cars. I saw Solo Matters posted something about somebody building one for STU, maybe? I want to say it was STU. I don't know, one of those ST classes. Like full prepped out to the hilt, and like a couple of people are like, isn't that just going to like destroy that class? Shouldn't that car be absolutely faster than the Miata, which is in the next class up? Like, it's kind of what I thought too, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Of course, a lot of people are like, the Miata's going to be faster.
We'll see what happens. Well, I think the problem was they started modifying that 2-liter Miata motor, and that thing loves airflow, and was making like.
I think in ST you can do tunes. I don't think you can run anything beyond just like regular. I don't even know that you can do like a flex fuel conversion on them, but I think you can tune them.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I think they responded really well to tunes, but so did the Fiat motor. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this guy. If maybe he's going to kill it and they're going to move it, or
I'm sure someone will bitch.
Someone will bitch about it
Obviously.
at some point. Absolutely.
So
Is that it for openers?
I think that's all I
That's
got.
so
this
many
week.
openers.
We wrapped them.
We're like an hour into the show, and
Good.
we're
See,
still opening it up.
That's what we were trying to do because we didn't have a topic.
We didn't have a
so
topic
many
this week.
things to take care of.
That's fine.
Yep. Check out our buddy Booney Boon over at Factor Fabrication. Robbie's on their website again, and they've got residential and commercial stuff. They've got stuff for your home. They can do custom fabrication work. Just hit them up on either their webpage, factorfabrication.com, or Instagram or Facebook. I think it's Factor Fabrication everywhere, and you can find them and see the type of work that they do. And
Or you can email them or call them.
info at factorfabrication.com. There's his phone number. Look at that.
Yep.
Right out there for
Is
the
that
world
a
to see.
cell phone number?
It's probably a cell phone number.
Can I read it out on air?
If you really
It's
want
on his
that,
website.
It is on his website.
If you didn't want people to know it,
Let's just let them go to
Let's
the
just-
website.
factorfabrication.com.
You know how people are. They'll start texting them and stuff. It's
Oh,
it's
man.
not a good look.
Google's listening. He'll end up getting weird.
solicited,
Yeah.
unsolicited stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
All right, fine. It'd be funnier if we texted him.
It would be kind of funny.
All right, Robbie, it's time for our not topic.
What's our not topic?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about this week?
You did stuff to your car.
I did some stuff to my car.
That's right. I forgot all
my,
about it.
My roll cage is well, it's basically all done. I'll say
Welded?
It's like 80% painted. So I came back from the welders. Everything looks good. I threw some paint on it.
What type of paint did you use?
It's Massey Ferguson Red. I got it from Tyson's, which looks like Tyson's.
Is it like urethane?
Yeah,
makes me so happy.
it's enamel.
Okay.
For those
could-
of you not in the know, Massey Ferguson makes tractors.
They
and
do make
it's
tractors.
red.
I bought it at a tractor store because
Right,
my
yeah.
shop is in the middle of nowhere,
Merc.
basically. And
Did
it
you
was
spray
red.
it on or did you brush it on?
Fuck
No,
yeah, I
you-
sprayed it on there.
Oh, seriously? I thought you were going to brush that shit
Nah,
off.
that did not work at
You
all.
just went to Tyson's, got like a couple of spray cans.
I was like, I need red, and then like, here's some red.
I mean, it's a
shake,
good looking red. Don't get me wrong.
It worked out
And
really good.
if it's tractor paint, it should be pretty robust.
That's
Yeah, it's
hilarious.
enamel. I couldn't find. There's a lack of information about painting roll cages. Everybody's just like, it fucking blows, and it's like that's not helpful though. It doesn't help. It doesn't solve any of my problems. Now, if you do want to paint a roll cage, what I would suggest is Rust-Oleum. I think makes a. I don't know what it's called exactly. You could easily find it though. It's a brushable enamel, and it kind of pebbles up. It kind of gets a texture to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's meant for like outdoor applications. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I would probably recommend that. The problem with it is it only comes in like black, brown,
Silver.
black, brown,
Gray.
brown, and black and gray. That's all you get.
Or something.
Yeah. So if you want a color, if you want your cage to be in color and not in black and white, I would just recommend enamel. And everybody's gonna tell me that I'm wrong, but there's really not.
It's a
good
roll cage.
information.
Just spray it. Whatever.
The thing is, you want it to be tough because you're going to be sliding in and out on it, and you want it to make sure it's covered because obviously you don't want
rust.
You don't want it to corrode. You know that's not good. So yeah, enamel's good. Enamel will. It actually we primered it first, so we put primer on it, like a self-etching primer.
That's good.
To make sure it really stuck and to make sure that all the fresh welds and the grinding and all that stuff was covered, and that this would adhere because when you get pipe, it's got shit on it.
It's always oily.
Yeah.
And then you cut
Greasy.
it and you use cutting oil and there's shit all over it, and then you're welding, and it's hard. We cleaned it, but it's really hard to say is it 100% clean like a piece of sheet metal. No, it's probably not. So
It never is.
primer is a good idea. Plus, that'll tell you if you really did miss a spot that's got a bunch of oil on it. You'll see it, and you can clean it and then reprimer it.
Yeah.
You didn't like block sand it and then have some body
I did.
filler.
No, I thought about smoothing it out, but I just
Body filler all
do
the
a
welds.
little fill on the welds.
The welds are all perfectly smooth and shit. Did you even weld this together? No, it's
it's just putty. It's just putty.
just-
Just puttied it together.
JB welded it.
Little JB welding.
It's got a nice rivet all the way.
Like a Sandoval JB weld, don't they?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they do. They do. Oh god.
So
Yikes.
But it looks good though.
yeah, it
It
turned
really
out
came,
good.
it really came together.
I gotta try to get on top of it with a paintbrush. It's the only thing.
Like under the sunroof.
Yeah, because it's not under the sunroof; it's around the sunroof.
Right.
So I got.
Oh yeah, under the roof. Under the
It's
actual
under the roof, but I got to try to get it covered with something. So I've got some of that enamel in a bucket. Just take a brush to it.
Yeah, you could just mask that all off and just spray up in there.
You can't get up.
Yeah,
I looked at it like I can't get the can up
It's
in
too
there.
bad the sunroof is actually like in there now.
No, it's not. It's out.
Oh,
But I still can't
Yeah,
get.
see, he's got all the room in the world.
I still can't get above it. Like, there's not enough. The
gotta
gap
a-
is tiny.
Yeah,
that was the whole point of the whole damn project, was to make the gap small.
Well, if it's that
I tried to
small-
put a piece of cardboard in there, like
Oh,
a
man.
thin piece of cardboard, slide it in there because I was trying to paint it.
Yeah.
That didn't work. It's a lot of overspray.
Damn, dude.
Well, that's fine.
Think about it for a minute, a car with no interior in it, trying to cover all of it with like cardboard and paper, and then like getting
you
in
could have
there
got
with
masking paper instead of cardboard.
No, I have masking paper. It wouldn't stick to anything.
Oh yeah, that's too bad.
It's not worth it. It's
Jesus.
just it's
No,
so
I mean,
stupid.
yeah, I'd say it's. Plus, we're gonna change the color anyways, man.
Yeah, plus it's gonna probably be like glitter purple next year or something.
Yeah.
So you can't get too committed to the color.
No, the color should change every year.
Yeah, exactly.
like a sponsored car.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? So, yeah, painting roll cage is not fun, but
I'm excited to see it though.
Yeah.
I think it looks really
out-
good.
It does look
good.
really good.
I'm excited.
Robbie's looking at my
Bash
jack
bar.
point right now. Yep, that turned out good.
That also turned out great.
I need
thought-
one of those in my life.
I thought
really
for
badly.
sure that was gonna flex. I'm like, man, I'm gonna look stupid when I put a jack on this. This whole thing's gonna flex. That
Collapses in on
fucker
itself.
does not move.
No.
Nope.
I would hope
Turned out
not. It's
good.
the same material as your roll bar.
No, it's not as thick. That's inch and a quarter.
Okay.
My roll cage is
Inch and 3/4.
way over spec. way over spec.
What do you got? Like
Formula D requires inch and a half, 0.095 tubing, like tubing wall diameter.
That's
Mine's inch and it's pretty thin.
that is thin.
kinda surprising.
Shockingly thin.
Yeah, which you can order.
For cars that are basically guaranteed to crack.
Like 1,000 horsepower
into
running
each
into
other.
walls.
Right.
It's kind of weird, but
I can't believe it's not inch and 3/4 Dom required.
nope, inch and a half.
That's what you did though, didn't you?
No, I've got inch and 5/8.
Okay.
What's
Except
your
for my
wall
door, my door bars are inch and a half, but they're still thicker. My
Right.
wall thickness is like 0.13, so it's 50% thicker than what's required.
Smart.
Pretty sure you could throw that car down a hill,
That's the point
like
though.
down a mountain.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know
you will not regret that.
I kind of like.
Especially with like the target we've painted on your back.
Yeah, exactly. People are just gonna be running into me all year. I did have like a fleeting moment of like maybe this is
Overkill. Too thick,
or it's
heavy.
too heavy or whatever. I was
You're
like,
not racing
it's
for
also
time.
like a roll cage, and I'm not competing, so I just
You know, you fix too much weight, more horsepower.
Yeah,
that's true. Put that supercharger on it.
Yeah. Well,
I can't weigh that much. I'm gonna go weigh it as soon as it's drivable again.
I feel like no one ever walks away going, "Man, I wish I had a less safe roll cage."
Yeah, actually. So when it was done, I decided it wasn't done. So I put these like eyebrow bars in.
Yeah, I don't have pictures of it.
So I got a little carried away. So on the back of the roll hoop, so where the halo attaches to the hoop, I put some 45-degree bars in there that are 1 1/4 inch, just for fun. And then on the front, on the windshield, where the A-pillars tie into the halo, I put some on there too. So
overkill. So that's all right.
the front ones are called FIA bars, and I think they're required by the FIA now.
Okay.
If you compete in FIA events, because at some point they decided that if you add those for some reason, the impact or basically the crushing force that the car can withstand is like substantially higher for some reason, because that A-pillar can't separate from the halo, because now it's got 2 attachment points to it, so it can't. If the car's being crushed, that A-pillar bar could potentially blow off the halo.
Yep.
Now it can't get away from the halo. It's being forced.
Yeah, you got to break like 3 separate welds to do it.
Yep. So they require it at some level, maybe for like rally cars or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
the rally car cages are insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and justifiably so.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
So
which is why I'm surprised drift and rally aren't in the same side of the spectrum.
a lot of guys have them.
Rally cages.
No, they've got all those like not required support, like 40. I don't know what you call them. They're not gussets. They're just kind of 45-degree bars that tie in 90-degree.
Yep.
Connection points.
Maybe that's why it's not required, because so many people just do it anyway that it's not a big enough issue to rewrite a rule book over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to make yourself a shitty cage, go for it.
Yeah.
It's your life.
Well, I think at the end of the deal, it says you're responsible for your cage. So
fortunately, in this day and age, that's not
what the lawyer says.
Yeah, well, sure, the rule book says that, but at the end of the day, you would hope that people would take their personal safety into consideration. The only thing like the amount of mental masturbation about roll cages has been high, but like you start getting into things like door bars and all this stuff, and if I was ever going to redo something, it might be the door bars, because I might go to NASCAR style. Yeah,
like go into the door.
The door, but man, that's a whole different game.
Yeah, because you got to modify the door to make your roll bar.
And it would be super nice, and it'd be nice for working on the car, taking the seat out, and getting
chances
in there.
are you lose window up or down. Like it either has to be not there or it has to be all the way up.
Yep.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So
it's nice to be able to have.
Yeah, and I didn't want that, and I want to keep all the door functions and.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, when do you stop, man? That's what I was telling Robbie before you got here. It's like, where do you say that? You just walk away.
It's
time to be done with this.
It's complete.
Yep. Start putting it back together.
The season is about to begin. It's time to be done with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where you're at.
Yeah, yep.
So when are you going to put a halo on it? Right? You got to have a halo. That's the new rage, to have a halo on the front of it.
On the front of it?
Like Formula One. You got to have one of those, right?
Oh, the halo.
The flip-flop.
Thong.
You need a flip-flop.
See, there was like a April Fool's joke. Somebody had wrote I think it was racer.com or motorsport.com or something about having them on LMP1 cars, which even though they're closed cockpit and shit like
just
that.
put it on anyways.
Yeah, they just like photoshopped it onto the front of an LMP1 car. Like, oh yeah, FIA says you got to have them now.
My favorite one's still, the cat. First of all, the cat gif.
Kitty, right?
If you guys haven't seen that shit is hilarious. But my other favorite one is they had you have those security questions where they're like, choose the cars. You know what I mean? Click on that, and it's a picture of, I don't know whose car. It might have been in the McLaren car.
Who knows?
On the track, and the camera's, obviously not where the driver's sitting. It's slightly off to the side, and it says, select the panels where the road is visible, and it's none of them.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure you can learn to just kind of.
It is wide though. It's not thin.
Yeah, I'm sure it's about at least 1 3/4 inches.
Yeah.
Probably bigger.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, would it have killed him to have put the posts right here? You know what I mean? Like just where your shoulders are, maybe.
I just think it's hilarious. Like they started at, of course, Formula One being Formula One. People started adding wings and shit on the top of it.
Yep.
Now it's an aero part. Let's calm the fuck down, people.
Yep. Little downforce on there.
Yeah.
I still think Indy cars look way better with their whatever you want to call
So
it,
much simpler.
their windshield thing that
Oh yeah,
yeah. They do for sure.
looks way better, and it does ultimately
Appears
the
to-
same purpose.
Yeah. So
Does that radical pod? Is that about?
yes,
It's about IndyCar.
Formula
Formula One.
specifically most of the time.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that was my.
What was that about? Is that a podcast war idea?
No, I was just saying.
okay.
Like, fuck your gummy chew things. That's all. Still upset about that.
Dude, I just want to
I
know.
never put anything in my mouth that tasted that bad before.
Just want to know.
Take that as you will. Seriously.
And I put gross shit in my mouth.
No,
let me
really-
tell you.
Really, honest question. Have you put anything in your mouth that was as disgusting as that was?
Not on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
We were all in college once, right?
I'm
That
still
was-
gross.
That was so gross.
Oh God. Here, there's some left. If you
Yeah,
want.
that's the one that I spit
I just
out
wanna-
and the one that I didn't eat.
I just want to know, like, I understand that because clearly it was European of some sort, and I
Yeah.
understand that like we as Americans
Danish or
have a really
something, yeah.
strange, by their standards, like
Taste.
taste and stuff like that. And some of the stuff we do is really out there, but is that really a thing for people?
Yeah, but like, you know, I know they think Americans, we just put like cheese and sugar on everything.
Right.
As we do,
like,
but
I don't eat cheese and I don't eat sugar. Like there was
Right.
cheesecake at work today and I didn't eat it.
how?
That's just my life.
That's a life not
Dude,
worth
if you would
living.
have had, if you'd have had,
it anyway.
he would have had a
Need it.
slice of cheesecake, it would have quadrupled his sugar intake for the week.
For the
Yeah,
month.
probably for, yeah, it might have been closer to a month.
You want to eat fruit for God's
Yeah,
sake.
I don't eat.
I would have ate 2 of those things.
There was 2 also, and I was like, nope, not doing it. I walked away.
Give me
Everybody
those.
else in
Give
the
me,
office is eating.
get out of here. Those are both
Get
mine.
out of here.
Those are both mine.
So anyway, my point is, my palate is not accustomed to sweet things. So
Right,
you can't
yeah.
say that I've got a normal American palate. That tasted like shit.
It tasted
It was
like
awful.
salt or sweaty.
It was-
It
yeah,
was
It was like sweat that somebody had bottled.
It was
Right.
and
yeah.
left in the sun for
and
6
then
months.
it hardened somehow.
Yeah, and then it turned black, and they turned it into a gummy, and they sold it to Americans, and they laughed at them.
I wonder if that's what it is. Like
It's a
maybe
joke.
it's just like a terrible
Is
Danish joke.
people sweat?
It's a terrible Danish joke.
Yeah, send it to the Americans. How do they even come across this?
I want to know what the package said.
Oh,
It angers me.
I think it is. I think it does say black licorice because I looked it up.
That's not black licorice. Even by like, because like,
it's like the worst part of black licorice.
have you ever had
and
anise
sweat.
candy? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. But it's kind of black licoricey,
Yeah. That's
Okay.
I don't like it.
but it's a German candy. It certainly doesn't taste like that.
That's European.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like my family like grew up right there on the German-Danish border. I think actually we're technically more Danish than we are German. We just live on the wrong side of the street.
You didn't like that shit.
No, that was terrible. I'm pretty sure my grandma wouldn't eat it either.
Swedish or Danish or something. I don't know.
Super weird.
Not cool, man. That's all I gotta say. Not
I
cool.
have, but the problem is like I don't even know where to go from there.
That's yeah.
Oh, we can get somewhere.
If you let Robbie,
I have a
go with
2-year-old. We can get places.
I can, We can get creative.
You're like
We
start,
also have a fan base that can also get very
do I need
creative.
to start like bottling Logan's snot or something? 'Cause
No.
I can do that.
We have to
make it-
follow
probably
We
this.
can
some
turn
sort
that
of-
into a gummy too.
there's probably like a law against that.
You know, we could just be like, yeah, the radio podcast guys' phone numbers are, and then we just put it.
You said the wrong word. Damn it, Robbie. We ruined
the
it.
radical. Well,
The radical
the
podcast.
pictures got them all. I'm sorry.
No.
Well, you have to watch the YouTube video to see
know.
that part.
That's fine.
YouTube's like 1/25 of our audience or something like that. So
Maybe there's.
I don't even know if it's that much.
It might not be.
My math is terrible.
Not much terrible.
All right. Should we do some news? Or do we have any other
you-
like housekeeping topics we need to cover?
can we talk about his thing? I know he doesn't tell us shit about
I don't shit about it.
it, like his personal car choices.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Like,
gonna talk
I
about
didn't
your
even
thing?
I didn't even
It's
know
on
until I
your-
drove into the driveway.
It's on your
today,
Instagram, so you should probably talk about it.
I bought a 08 Avalanche.
I didn't even know until I drove in the driveway.
I sent you pictures of the interior.
I don't think that's true.
I did.
He did, but you may not have even known what he was talking about because I was confused also.
Oh. Anyways,
I put
In
it
the
together,
group?
like I figured it out. Yeah,
In the group chat?
I sent it directly to you two.
It's buried now. You'll never
Yeah,
find
I'm
it.
fucking
Dude,
digging
this was like
this
2
one.
weeks
It was a
ago.
fucking-
Fucking
Yeah.
digging.
No,
I didn't know.
It was last.
He bought it like right after we had our show.
Last Thursday is when I sent you the picture. Anyways,
Fuck if I know.
I bought it 2 Saturdays ago before I went to Connecticut.
Yeah.
So I bought it in a snowstorm, drove it home, and then drove it to the airport.
Yeah.
But yeah, I traded the Maxima in on it. They gave me a hell of a deal on the Maxima, and they gave me a hell of a deal on this. And
This?
yeah.
Dude, I thought you were like, that was your rental or some shit.
Hell
I didn't
no.
fucking know that you bought it.
Pay attention to words, man.
Oh, because you...
I wrapped it.
Put vinyl on
Honestly,
the
I
dash.
thought that was like
Yeah,
maybe the...
No, it had really shitty like marble wood.
Because you
It's not
never
even wood
said
grain,
what
it's
you
like
put
marble.
it in. You just said, oh, I'm putting this vinyl
He sent
on.
a picture of the avalanche earlier.
I don't think that's
He was
true.
doing something else, and it was like in
that's
the
true.
background.
Oh,
He was so shady about the
I don't
fact
think
that he
you guys
bought
have
this.
any idea how wild my life is and
Yeah,
how
so-
little I'm able to pay attention to anything.
But yeah, so it's Victory Red. I don't know. It's awesome.
It's red. It's a
What
truck.
motor is it? Is that 6.2?
It's 5.3.
Is that a 3/4 ton or a half ton?
What?
It's a half ton.
Half
rather.
ton.
half ton?
Yeah.
It's 6 bolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Six lug. Six
Okay.
lug life.
Okay.
Hashtag.
It's the most
I don't think
useful.
that's a real hashtag.
It's probably not.
It is now.
All the eight lug dudes would make fun of you.
Isn't like
Look at our
10,
diesel. I
isn't 10 lug like a thing?
don't think so.
No.
It might be. I don't
It
know.
probably
Sounds
is.
Like a semi.
If somebody could figure out how to convert from 8 to 10, they would do it, and then they would.
It's for sure like a
hashtag 8
diesel,
lug life.
like a semi-axle or something. They probably have 10 or 12 lugs. Don't
No,
they?
somebody's making a shady Chinese lug conversion thing. Trust me.
Yeah.
Just so they can say that they have more lugs.
I'm gonna make hashtag 4-bolt.
That's
my new one.
do it.
I'm gonna put that on everything I post. With
3
the
bolt.
Omni
I'm gonna
from
get
here
one of
on
those
out.
Mirages.
Or a smart car.
Smart car. They
Yeah.
have 3 bolt, 3 lug.
They really only have 3.
Yeah, I think the
That's
Yeah,
Mirages
it's
might
a
too.
triangle shape.
That's silly.
Yeah, that's why none of them have anything but stock wheels. Because
I suppose.
That's all you get.
Good luck.
yeah,
But no, it had the interior had that marble wood grain looking stuff for the accents.
Yeah, the red weird
And it-
it
Maple.
looked like a pickup dash.
Red
to me.
maple.
Yeah,
that's
and
why I was so
and
confused.
It didn't match like anything else in the car. So I'm like, this sucks. So I went and got some satin black vinyl and just wrapped the whole interior with all the accents are now satin black. So now it's
This is Robbie's life now.
red truck with black
I'm
accents.
just gonna wrap that. Real quick, I'm gonna wrap that.
But it's like
Bobby's like, why would you put down new hardwood floors? You
Just
just
go
lay
wrap it,
vinyl
wrap
on
the
top
floor.
of
Just put
that.
vinyl on it.
Wrap floor.
But it's so cool because the back seats flip down.
You actually think that that's cool? The
it's so
avalanche part
useful.
of- Oh
it is
my
so
God.
useful.
Have you used it?
See, I would have for sure said that Robbie would think that that's fucking.
I
stupid.
built this bench.
Yeah, so he buys the truck, and the first thing he does is he builds.
I
a bench.
literally used it 2 days after I got home.
Can you go back to the outside picture of it?
Yes.
That he is living a lifestyle. Do you see that?
Right?
He's
That's
got,
what I'm
He's
getting
in the
at.
middle of nowhere. He's got a metal building or a pole barn or a Morton building
got
or
a
whatever you
Morton
want to call it.
shed.
He's got a
Yeah,
Morton
just
shed.
like every
and
farmer
it's
across the
covered in
country.
fucking gravel
Yeah,
mud.
dude. Absolutely.
It had been snowing all day on the day I bought it, so it got filthy by the time I got
It's
home.
still filthy.
well, it's
But
gonna rain all next
He's
week.
living a lifestyle.
You ordered your
man.
WeatherTech floor mats?
He
yet?
has lived. He does. They're in there.
They're huskies. I got them for $100.
He's living a lifestyle, man. He's converting.
I love this truck. For real though.
Dude, if he
This
like
is
gets
so
horses
useful,
and
though.
shit, we're gonna have to find a new.
If he gets horses, I'm
host.
out. I have a strict
We'll have to
no horse rule.
That's right, I forgot
Seriously,
about that.
No,
Friends?
he does. I
I didn't
Especially
realize
girlfriends.
that it crossed. I knew that it was a girlfriend rule, but I didn't realize it crossed over into friends.
That's
too.
how much I don't like
That's
horses.
harsh, man.
Because there's going to be like, hey, can you? No, I cannot.
But no,
an
I
interesting
went and bought all that wood and I replaced the door on my patio, and I folded down the back seat,
Put it all in there.
threw it all in there, closed tailgate, went home. It's fucking awesome. So convenient. It's the most useful vehicle I've ever owned,
Well, yeah,
without a doubt.
it's because it's a truck
And it's
instead of
got-
some tiny little crossover.
And it's got all the bells and whistles, heated seats. It's got the DVD player, which I'll never use because
It's
I'll
got a
never,
DVD player.
I'll never be in the back seat. But it came with it.
Robbie's driving us everywhere. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch
And it's got a
movies
moonroof.
while I go
He's driving a
places.
grid
I didn't
life.
know trucks came with moonroofs, but this one's got it.
Really? Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that
Yeah,
on a
moonroof.
truck.
It's crazy. It has literally every option you could have on an 08.
That's
And it was I
always
wasn't
been
even
the avalanche thing.
wasn't even looking at avalanches until I came across this one. Oh, I could get a beat up Silverado
Right? Yeah. I
or
think
this
that-
kick the
fully
shit
loaded
Silverado.
avalanche.
Yeah. So apparently those nobody wants them. They don't hold value for shit.
I
That's been that way
I've been
since
so-
day one.
so happy.
You can get the first generation of that,
Yeah, like the 03s.
with the 8.1 liter big block in it.
And 8 bolts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nobody wants those.
That's fine.
I've seen people turn
this
in these
really
wild off-road rigs.
This really worked out for me.
Yeah.
It's good. Now you got almost a tow rig.
Yeah, I need a trailer.
Does it still have that? Is the bed still all plastic?
It's got a liner
It's
on
got
it.
yeah, it's got
Like
the
even
liner.
the sides are kind of like that vinyl
No.
plasticky stuff.
Like the outside.
no, inside of it.
Yeah,
it's got
like a
So
cupboard thing.
that stuff scratches really easy.
yeah,
Heads
you can
up.
see that. Good scratches.
That was always a thing at the dealership.
Oh, really? People like freak out about that?
Oh, the new ones. People they
Yeah.
get
Well, so when I was working at a dealership, those were maybe 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
come in all scratched up, and people, this thing looks like it's been beat up. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
it's a bed of a
fucking
truck.
soft plastic.
Of
It's
course,
not
it's
that-
gonna get beat
but
up.
it's more noticeable than like some
Oh.
paint chips and stuff. You
I
know,
don't care. It's a bed of a truck.
I know. Well, people are people.
People, yeah, people complain about anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm so happy.
So
Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah,
James,
dude.
James was asking about it. So
You should, you should borrow that trailer that the RX-7's on in that other photo. That's the other. That's
you for sure need yourself an aluminum trailer.
Yeah,
no, I don't need an aluminum trailer.
you should borrow that.
I would love to.
With a half-ton truck, I think you'll be much happier with an aluminum trailer.
I'm sure I would. My bank account wouldn't.
Well,
That trailer is free $95 right now.
Thank you. That's the perfect trailer
It's
for me
literally
today.
just sitting there, so you could come get it.
Yep, I will borrow that. That's all.
So sweet. Ahead of schedule on your racing rig
I am.
plans, I suppose.
I'm
you
hoping
could
to have a
say.
trailer by June is my plan. But unless I can borrow this, then I'll be
Yeah,
less.
you can borrow it.
If I can borrow things, then
It was going to be up at my house because I was going to store it up here because we have 97,000 fucking trailers. But
you can. I'll let you store it at my place if you let me borrow
actually,
it.
that might not be a bad idea.
probably not even. Hell, it might even be closer for your dad at that point.
Yeah, it probably is. The only thing about that one is it is not worth anything, but for some reason people like to rent it.
Oh, yeah, you can't afford to get rid of it then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I keep telling them. It's like, well, like, do you want them to take the tilt bed trailer, or do you want them to take this trailer that's literally worth like
Nothing.
$500? And
My
they'll
dad
give
likes
you
to say
$50
that
for it.
you'll never have more friends than the day you buy a trailer.
Oh, without a doubt.
So
Word and rad and other things. Is that enough? No topics for this topic segment.
It's news time.
It's time to do some news. All right.
Woo!
First one up. Cadillac has its own brand new V8.
it's got a hot V, Robbie.
That's awesome.
It's got that hot V. That is not a good name for something. I mean, maybe it is a good name
It's
for
the
something.
best name.
It's hilarious.
You know-
I also think that it's a terrible idea long term. I'm just gonna put
Big
that
ol'
out there.
hot V.
Put like containing all that heat in that tight confined space seems like a bad move long term, which I know they don't care about.
Right.
But still, just hot V's in general, they're bad. Stay away from them.
Yeah, boy. Getting wild. Anyway,
Yep. So what's this going in?
it's you get it in the CT6 V Sport,
Not
which is
CT6V.
No.
V Sport.
Sport.
Well, there are V Sports now. So there's
Is that like the step down? Is
yeah,
that
so
somewhere
there's
between base
there's
and
nothing. There's whatever.
There's ATS
ATS V Sport.
and then ATS.
I think there's an ATS V Sport. No, maybe there's not.
But if there were,
CTS V Sport, CTS V.
Okay, that's
Or-
not confusing at all.
yeah, V you would think is lesser, right?
'cause
Because
it's
shorter.
It's missing the
Yeah,
sport.
everybody wants the longer badge.
Yes.
right? Absolutely.
More badge, more options.
Right.
Wait, what?
It's 4.2 liters.
Twin?
It's coming in that car we talked about. It's
Twin charged?
yes,
Twin
turbo?
charged or twin turbo?
Twin turbo. Twin
Oh,
turbo.
Okay, I was like, I think I read that wrong.
Sorry.
They're
I
claiming
misspoke.
550 horsepower, 627 foot-pounds of torque.
That's crazy.
So torquey as shit.
It's that hot V.
It has something to do with the hot V, with the torque on the hot V. The bore is smaller than the stroke. Stroke's important on a hot V. It's an 86
I was
millimeter.
trying to figure out how to work that in. It was
86
great.
millimeter bore and a 90.2 millimeter stroke, which means it is a stroker hot V.
Wonderful.
Why though? Oh man.
I can't remember
It's
why.
terrible.
I wrote it down, and now I don't remember why they wanted more stroke than bore. I don't remember.
There's a
Probably
reason.
for the torque. The torque.
That's why it's so torquey.
It probably has a
Wait.
good rod ratio.
Now I'm. Yes. Now I remember. It's 90% of the torque is available at 2,000 RPM
Good grief.
with that configuration.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is some low end torque,
It's a lot of torque.
especially for a turbo car.
Can I read
I think
another?
the small turbo cars, that's a thing though.
Yeah,
Like-
so yeah, you can design it that way to
Because
have
like
it.
my TT made a ton of torque down low, even though it was a turbo car.
It's true.
That was
Yeah.
just kind of the nature of the beast. With those tiny little turbos, they make a lot of torque.
It's true.
Can I read you another number that sounds like bullshit? I would like to see this proved.
Sure.
They claim that it makes 5,075 pounds of fuel pressure.
What?
Is that if you take all the fuel pressure of all 8 injectors and add them together?
I don't know how they came up with that number. Yeah, exactly. Atom, not
Right.
not the actual
Right.
gross injection
No,
pressure,
no.
the actual addition of each one. I don't know how they came up with that number,
Weird.
but it makes a fuckload of fuel pressure.
yeah,
That's
no
what it
Also
is.
sounds like a number that I don't need to know. That is a
yeah. That's
that
why it
is
sounds
marketing
like a lie.
jargon that people are just like, oh, that sounds
That's a
like
lot of fuel pressure.
The
Yeah.
problem is like, however they arrived at that, is that a lot?
Well, because pressure is as a result of your flow rate also. So if you
Right.
have shitty flow, you have high pressure, which is what people don't understand about turbos.
So probably you probably want. This is probably golf in this situation, isn't it?
well, there's a
there's an
optimal point.
Yeah, there's
Right.
an efficiency curve.
right.
But yeah, that's one thing that people don't understand about turbos. Like, oh, it makes 40 psi, but yeah, what's your actual airflow though?
Yeah, just because you have 40 psi, 2 different turbos, that can mean 2 very different
right.
things.
Yep.
Well, there's a guy I follow here, and like, what's his name? I can't think of his first name, but anyways, it's admin tuning. He had a 350Z that he had on his dyno just the other day. He said some other shop tuned it, and he gained 40 wheel horsepower just by changing the tune. Didn't change the boost or anything. Just got it right.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's that right there.
timing, fuel,
Oh yeah,
stuff like
Just
that.
getting it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So anyway, I would like to go back to a previous episode where I think I predicted, and I don't remember where, I predicted that this motor was going, I think in the mid-engine Corvette is what I
That's
said.
what you claimed.
I have read is not happening.
They claim that that is not happening.
However,
I would. It's
it's in the same factory.
here. Is it?
Yeah, it's in Kentucky. This engine's being made in
They're
Kentucky.
making it in Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Oh, then
You know what they're going to do is they're going to change the heads and they're going, look, it's a different motor.
Right.
Ah,
Yeah,
hey.
it's hand built in Bowling Green.
That'll be-
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay, so it's going in the Corvette. All right, fair enough.
That's the way I took
Why
it.
wouldn't you? But do you? Okay, so do you remember when the R8 came out years and years ago? And it was at first it was the V8, and they said
Yep.
we're going to put a V10 in it, but we're not going to use Lamborghini's V10. We're going to make our own Audi V10.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah, that didn't work out either.
It's not.
So
I read a news story that they were going to make V6 models of that, and I was going to throw that up here because I wanted to discuss diluting of a supercar line, and then I found some other thing where it turned out to be bullshit, so I had to drop it. Anyway,
So that is all. I just wanted to bring up the prediction and the hot V.
I think it's interesting that Cadillac, with their apparently slipping car sales, is getting their own motor for a car.
Yeah.
Because what was that, 3-4 episodes ago, we were just talking about how Cadillac's sedan sales are just tanking. And then here they come out with a brand new motor for them, supposedly, for nothing but
For a
Cadillac's sedans. Seems like a lot of R&D time spent on a V8 for a line that's tanking.
I wonder if that's going to go in the new CTS V with a shitload of boost or something. You know what I mean? This is going to be now their platform for all Cadillac V8s. They'll drop the LTs.
What are they calling this? Do they have a moniker for it?
I didn't see anything for it. Did you see anything, Robbie?
I thought it was the LT something.
Is it an LT motor?
I could have
They're calling
swore
it
they
an
called
LT?
it an LT something.
Is it still a pushrod motor?
No, overhead cam.
Overhead cam.
Yep.
Awesome, I think.
Yeah, which goes back to that patent because we talked about them filing that. GM filing the patent for a dual overhead cam motor. That would be this.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, see, I was reading a different article. They called it like the LT.
Oh, no, it's not. It's a 96 millimeter bore spacing.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm just looking at specs on this now. That's it. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Looks like a hot, convoluted mess.
Yeah,
It
that's
does look
kind of
wildly
all motors
complicated.
now. They're not getting any more simple.
But it does look fairly compact, which means we're going to swap it into everything.
Heck yeah.
Oh, it'd be a sick drift car motor.
It would be.
It really would be.
There's a guy drifting in ATS, too.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then, so a quick update on that, because Long Beach is going to be over by now, but by the time this comes out. But our boy Kevin Lawrence is drifting his R32.
God, poor Kevin.
Yeah, because
If you're listening to this, dude, I feel so bad.
his
for you.
Could
RB30
not
blew
catch a
up
break.
when they were tuning it on the dyno, or it seized. I guess
Yeah,
I should say it
seized
blew up. But yeah, that blows. But they threw the R32 on the dyno and cranked it up from 500 to 700 horsepower. So
Smallest displacement motor in FD.
Yep.
he's holding that title. Well, some guy's got a rotary.
It's got 20B, though.
Does he?
Yeah, it's technically a larger displacement.
Interesting. And do you see the turbo on the front of that thing? You could put a baby in it. It's huge.
I'm sure.
Is that
Giant.
Is that Mad Mike's?
No.
Because his has got like 2 or 3 turbos on it.
No.
And that thing's, it's that little Miata. Literally my favorite car in the
He's
entire
got,
world.
well, if we're talking about the same guy, he's got a different car this year. It's still a Miata. Is it convertible?
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
all convertibles. Oh, is it an ND?
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yep,
is.
Yep.
It's not, because Mad Mike's, I think, was an NC Miata.
Yeah. It might be the same guy. It's a
Could
new
be, I
car,
don't know.
but the
He's a Mazda Red Bull sponsor.
used to be. I don't think he is anymore.
Oh, that's a bum deal.
I think it worked out okay.
All of his stuff is like Bull, like Rad Bull, Mad
Yeah.
Bull,
Yeah.
Sad Bull. I don't
It's all
remember.
super wide though.
Yeah, it's sick.
But
So
anyway, the topic that everybody knew we were going to talk about: Uber autonomous car kills a pedestrian. Has anybody watched the video?
I can't watch those. Sort
I
of
wondered if
things.
somebody
I didn't
wasn't
watch
gonna
it. I read
Did
about
nobody
it.
watched
Like,
it?
I didn't watch it.
Like the actual video of her
Yeah.
being killed.
Yeah, I
can't
watched
do
it.
No, I didn't watch
I can't do it.
I
can't
watched it.
watch
I
that
just
kind of
I
stuff.
read about it.
It bothers me.
It was described to me in
It
detail.
makes me uncomfortable.
It's worse than it was described. It's pretty awful.
I believe that.
And there's actually a video of the guy that was supposed to be paying attention,
Texting.
looking at his phone, looking up, complete shock on his face, as there's nothing he can do to. I think he looked up just as the car was about to hit the woman.
This is my shocked face.
It's just like,
Well,
that is.
If you give a person the freedom to not do exactly what he's supposed to do in any situation, he will default to the easiest.
Well,
which
you
is
can't
not
expect.
paying
Let's be
attention.
real.
he's got to be bored off.
You
his
cannot
frickin'
expect someone to
ass.
sit in a car for hours on end and not do anything but
Right.
look at the road. Like, literally, don't do anything but look at the road.
Right.
Cover
In
the
the
brake
event
pedal.
that you might need to hit
Right.
a brake.
Yeah, because
Meanwhile, every
theory,
fucking day you go to work, nothing happens.
yeah, in theory, he's not needed. It's just a belt and suspenders thing.
Yeah.
You're there because you have to be.
It's great.
Are you switching
Sorry.
to suspenders? Is that what you're
No,
telling us?
Rolls Royce always used that phrase. We know it's overkill, but it's belt and suspenders. We
It's
want
using both.
It's aerospace.
You don't need a belt and suspenders.
I know, but that is like a really like.
The guy that said
makes
it
my
is not right.
insides hurt.
The guy that told it to me, and it stuck for some reason, but he's retired now.
Makes-
But
That doesn't surprise me. at all.
That's how
That's
I,
an old person like butter my buns and call me a biscuit sort of thing.
I don't know what that means. But
I don't either. It's like an old time.
Don't use phrases you use in your bedroom on this podcast ever again.
or use
Like
them
hot
more.
V?
Hot V. Yeah, but no, Rolls Royce always has like above and beyond requirements, so they always refer to it as belt and suspenders. Like
Right.
everyone else requires this, we require this.
Yeah. It's the way that
Which,
Facebook runs their safety at their job sites.
99% is not 100%.
Yep.
Anyways,
So yeah, I did watch the video. It's pretty gruesome. I mean, I think everybody knows the story by now. The woman named Elaine, 49 years old, mother, married, is killed by a autonomous Uber Volvo in Tempe, Arizona. A couple weeks ago now. Rafael Vasquez, I think he was the backup driver. Obviously, wasn't paying attention, as we said. But yeah, still being investigated
Yep.
by the National Highway Safety and Traffic Administration.
and this is
if I got that right.
my biggest hang up is the way this was reported. Because I don't give a fuck that she came out of the shadows. There's no shadows for LiDAR.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Like, I understand in the video, it's like a GoPro, so your quality is only so
Right.
good.
Yeah.
And you can only see so far. And the headlights are obviously only going to show so far. But the human eye is better than that camera. So when people are like, you can see in the video, she just shows up right there and it's over. No. LiDAR should have seen her from 50 feet away.
Yeah.
And should have, and not made a decision to not hit her.
Absolutely.
Well, the whole point of that is that it's got tracking, right? It's supposed to be able to intelligently, like, this object
it
is
is-
moving
it's-
at this speed, at this trajectory.
It
and
has
you-
to predict where she's going to go. Like, it wasn't like she was sprinting in front of that car. She was walking across the street.
Yeah.
I still firmly believe that either it completely failed or it made the decision that it was a false positive and went anyways.
Yeah, that was the interesting discussion that's come up as a result of this, is that they have factored in false positives into the car's decision-making capabilities. So it can see something, sense it, and decide, I'm not going to do anything
I
about
don't think that should be the case in any way, shape, or form. It should never. If it sees something, it should react to it. Whether it actually is there or not, I would rather it react to it and not be there.
Right, and I think their theory behind why they would not do that would be like, say a bird, like a big bird.
That's fine.
But
I don't want to hit birds either.
Right,
That
no,
wrecks the front of my car.
But if they slam on the brakes, then they have to rely on the car behind it to slam on their brakes. So I think they're thinking, well, I'd rather hit the bird than have the car behind me.
See, this is that shit we talked about when we talked about Dan Blazarian, is that
it's so
you
complicated.
There's way too many decisions that have to be made to absolutely know for certain that you covered all of them.
You can't.
That's why my biggest thing is that it's not ready for the type of testing that they're doing in public.
I maintain that the most realistic expectation of autonomous cars for a long, long time into the future is interstate and highway travel only.
Absolutely.
Which I would use one for that.
I don't.
If somebody said this works on the highway, I say great, perfect.
If I could get
Sign
my
me up.
2-hour commute round trip back by like sleeping on the way there and doing whatever it is on the way home.
Yeah.
I love driving probably more than most people do, frankly. Even just like driving.
Yeah. But that's not good driving.
Even bad driving I enjoy probably more than the average person. Like I'll
Fair
take two-lane roads, even if there's a 4-lane option and it's a 15-minute faster trip, I'll take the 2-lane one.
Yeah.
But dude, there are a lot of days where I would absolutely be on the interstate.
Yeah.
It's
I had
nice
that
to have the
option.
choice. Like if you want to sign off and say,
on the interstate,
the number of factors goes down dramatically.
there's a pretty low number of pedestrians crossing interstates, thankfully, and frankly, at 75 miles an hour, I don't know if this would have mattered.
Right
at that point,
it couldn't have stopped.
The closing speeds on. I don't know if you've ever tried to cross an interstate. I have. No. It was work related, but the closing speeds on a car moving 75 compared to even 60, which, I'm sure we've all tried to cross a 2-lane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, they're
quite a bit different.
So, I mean, at that point, whether I'm controlling it or a computer's controlling it, someone's probably going to get hit.
Right.
And you could increase the speed limit. If you can control if the traffic can communicate with one another, they talk about inter-car communication.
That's
you can increase
the thing
that speed
I
limit
think,
to like 100.
That's the thing I think that we need most right now. Not to spin away from this stuff, but unfortunately, that's the thing the government's going to have to step in and regulate, because at some extent, number one, we need to have a universalized system, and number two, it's probably going to have to be done in some way, shape, or form with traffic communication being our roadways, because we're going to need to communicate that this light is changing, that there's a train coming, stuff like that. So the government's going to have to get involved in that stuff.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of Alex Roy's driving manifesto too. It's like we have to come to a conclusion as to what level of safety we need to accept for these. Like, is one death a year, or out of the one number that are out there right now, is that acceptable? Can we live with that?
I don't think that we should ever believe we're going to live in some utopian future where no one's ever going to get killed in automotive accidents. It's just not realistic.
Right. It'll never be perfect, but we have to at least set a limit where we can say, yes, we are at a level of safety that we can put these on the road and expect to not kill people.
Yeah.
And how would you even define that? I don't know.
I don't think that there's a certain number we should strive for.
No.
I think that number should just be as low as we can possibly make it.
Agreed.
I don't think that we should say, I don't want to kill more than 10 people in the U.S. a year. That's our number. I don't think there should be a number.
No, but it's got to be
just
a factor of safety.
Let's just make it better.
Like, it's going to fail eventually, just like any manufactured part. It's going to fail. You have to a level of safety or a factor of safety as to what are the chances of it failing. So like, yeah, I know if I run it for 1 million miles, the chance of it hitting somebody or killing, something going wrong goes up a certain percent.
Right.
And we can live at that percent.
Right.
So you just there has to be a statistic behind it that we can live with.
I think that autonomous cars are going to require more regular replacement periods, which is going to suck for a lot of Americans.
Yeah, your maintenance.
Mandatory maintenance schedules.
Mandatory maintenance is one thing, but I also think that the cars are either going to need completely new electronic systems, or they're just going to need to be completely crushed and started over.
Probably.
I mean, I think you're going to end up. How long does your laptop last? It doesn't.
No, it's obsolete by the time you do anything to it.
What happens in that scenario when it has a moment where it lags?
Yeah.
How can you 100% guarantee that there will never be a moment where that piece of equipment lags?
The only way that you can guarantee that is a high level of redundancy and a high level of replacement period.
Right. Well, it's like in Japan, you only can have an engine for so long.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's why we get SR20s here so easily.
So cheap.
Because they have to replace them after like 30,000 kilometers or something crazy. I mean, they don't maintain them for those 30,000, which is why
just run them into the ground.
Yeah, that's why they're junk when they get here. But you'd almost have to have something like that, like an over-regulated safety.
Unfortunately, I think if we're going to get to that point, then it becomes a matter where either we're going to have to figure out a way to cut costs on these vehicles, or it's going to have to be at some level subsidized, because I can tell you that I can't afford a new car replacement at that interval. I can barely afford used car replacement at any interval.
Right.
So,
so then at that point, you need to have the right to
drive it myself.
Right. Yep.
That's the only way that it can work for probably, frankly, an overwhelming majority of the public.
All right.
Yeah. And yes, I agree. Yep. 100%.
But that's not anything to do with this. So sorry.
The interesting thing about obviously, it's under investigation, as we said. Uber's going to let their California autonomous license expire, which is a little bit interesting. Arizona says that they're banned from running any autonomous cars at the moment. I also would like to say, I don't know how this came up, but the question came up about whether or not Volvo's safety equipment was still in play. I don't know why this is even a discussion that anybody's having.
Right.
I don't understand this.
Volvo safety stuff shouldn't matter because the other stuff should have overridden it and been in charge anyway.
I think if anything, it should have been off.
Right. Because you don't want that to try to override a technology you're trying to prove out.
Right. Yeah. Because then you don't know what happened.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Volvo doesn't need to be part of this discussion at all, as far as I'm concerned.
No. The type of vehicle being driven doesn't matter.
No.
That's not the technology at fault here.
So, one other thing that really kind of bugged me about this, with this story kind of early on, was she or was she not homeless?
Oh, it doesn't sound like it.
It didn't.
No,
she's married with a mother.
She definitely had at least one child, like an adult child.
But
because they already settled.
It was just fucking crazy. I don't even know how they could. I don't know whose attorney let them do that, but that was not a good move. I mean, they probably paid that, we don't know, millions.
Yeah, it was they didn't say what the daughter or son's name was. Daughter?
May have been daughter. Yeah,
I want to say daughter, but I don't know if that's true.
But why wouldn't your attorney go, hey, let's just dial it back? There's a lot of shit going on right now.
Let's get her to the ground.
Let's wait till the investigation gets completed to see what exactly was at fault here. Let's just take a breath, back up. Maybe they didn't have an attorney. I didn't read that far into it.
Or Uber just was like,
here's a check for $3 million. Go away.
Here's a shit ton of money. Let us focus on the other side of it.
Sign this piece of paper that says you can't sue us. That's what they do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Say, okay.
Put a big dollar sign on it.
Yeah. Big for those people, but for Uber, whatever.
And
so I read somewhere that real early on, and it died away, but that she was homeless.
Yeah.
And then at some level, that was some sort of like justification, like, oh, she was homeless.
Yeah, it's okay because she doesn't.
It was less of an impact because she's just a vagrant.
No, that's exactly how it came across in a bunch of articles.
Are you fucking kidding me right now, people? It doesn't matter who or what she was or what social status she had.
Absolutely.
She was killed. It's bad.
It is.
It's a bad deal.
I do think that this is going to set back a lot because, everyone's pulling out their license saying no more.
Yep.
You guys can't be here. Arizona said get the hell out of here. I think California's probably going to have to do some of the same. It's going to set it back a long ways.
Right. I know it's
good or bad. I haven't decided yet.
Even if you want to like really piss off PETA, like you get a big area and you just fill it with like deer and shit, and then you do your testing in there because you can't predict what the deer are gonna do.
Dude,
but at least then you got something that's gonna be unpredictable
with
anything.
For lack of a better term, robots that are controlled on a completely separate system. So
Roombas.
Those
just have a shit ton of Roombas.
Just put it on an airfield full of Roombas. No, dude, have you seen those robotic dogs? Most terrifying shit.
Yeah, those
absolutely.
Is it Boston Dynamics? Is that the name of that company?
Yeah.
That shit is fucking the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Just a bunch of those and like Osmos, Honda's like walking robot, just an airfield with a whole bunch of those.
That is at least the right direction because like we never even did that.
Right.
We
exactly.
Being, everybody. They never did that type of testing. We went straight to the streets.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like they could have done this without killing even a bunch of deer,
Right. There's ways to have unpredictable stuff jump in front of your car and then learn from that.
What happens when the robots become self-aware and they know that we're
killing
kill them
us?
with cars? Do they attack? They probably don't attack the cars.
Here's the thing,
they come after us.
The robots create technology to cancel out the LiDAR.
Well, so we're not trying to kill the robots. We're trying to not kill the robots.
But they don't know that.
They have to die in the process.
They don't have to die if we don't fuck this up, Robbie.
All they see.
We are imperfect humans.
This is a very precarious situation where we could potentially be killed by robots.
Wait, you want me to run in front of this car? What? No.
Yeah, exactly. They become self-aware. They go, that's dumb. Jeff did that last week, and he's in a pile over there. I'm not doing this shit. And then they start killing humans. That's how this starts. Elon Musk told us that this was going to happen.
It's true. Elon Musk did tell us.
He predicted it, and now he's creating it.
But very strange.
That's it, though. It's this technology is supposed to be able to tell you what color the light is 100 feet from now.
Right.
And be able to predict and then be able to predict when it's going to switch.
Which is
but it still couldn't see a human 20 feet from it. I don't
it's not ready.
It's super flawed. And it's not ready.
We shall see what this lawsuit or investigation, rather, because there is no lawsuit at the moment.
Civil suit has been closed.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling that we're never going to get answers.
That's the problem.
We're never going to get closure to this, if you will. They're just going to shove it under the rug and move on. There'll be an end of the investigation, but the American thought will have moved on by then to the next big catastrophe, and we won't learn anything from this. So we'll just repeat it.
It's an extremely, extremely complicated problem to solve, and there's not one right answer.
No.
So that's where nobody wants to stick their neck out and say we have to do it this way. I mean, we could change from this, but we have to start somewhere. 1010's podcast said we needed to start right here, and it's not safe.
So we said that a long time ago,
We used the robots. Yeah, I know. We said it like a year ago.
Yeah. No, not the robots. I'm not convinced about that.
You're thinking a new terror.
No, I watched those Boston Dynamic videos where they kick the robots.
And it doesn't fall over?
No, they kick it and it falls over and it gets back up. I'm like, man, it's like one step away from punching you in the face, dude. That's it.
Yeah,
it's fucking
their
on.
robots are terrifying.
Then it's on.
Now they have ones that don't fall over. They kick them and they stumble and
That's
stay
better.
standing.
So now they're chasing us.
Because it's the military thing. So now they get pushed over and they don't fall. They have these gyroscopes and they kind of stumble, but they don't fall. You haven't seen that?
I'm like 40% serious. It's a little scary. I don't like those videos.
Let me get my tinfoil hat on.
It's not.
Quick.
I just
no. They terrify me a little bit.
It's a scary robot that you
it's
can't
a little
attack.
too sci-fi horror to me.
Now they're doing the things where the robots jump. Have you seen this? They get like crazy vertical.
Yeah,
stuff.
like 6 feet.
Yeah,
and then the one
they
can jump back.
You know what we should do? We should make robots way better than us. That's what
I'm saying. That's what.
And then we can use them to create the technology for this.
No. That's when they start using us as like batteries.
Oh god,
that's all I'm saying.
There's just so much to do.
On this note, before we move on, Waymo, who is involved in autonomous cars, I suppose, as a business, that's all they do.
They're arguably furthest ahead.
Yeah. Some people have argued that their technology is more road ready,
superior
than Uber's is. Fair enough. Hearsay, but so be it. John. Why can't people online have regular last names?
I just search out news stories. This guy, Michael can't pronounce his name. We're talking it.
It's either Krafsick or Kraftkick.
Let's go with Kraftkick.
I
like Kraftkick.
Krafsick.
Krafsick. I think it's Krafsick. He's the CEO of Waymo.
Kick his motor.
And he's not about 100% autonomous cars.
He says that he will fight for our right.
Yep, he will
to
fight.
drive.
He will fight a ban on personal driving.
Alex, we should call him up. This is his boy right here.
They should get together and do things.
Alex Roy has nice things to say about Waymo, so I would almost even if they're not friends, I would imagine they're both on the same.
I'm sure
page.
they've
Conversed.
communicated.
Yeah. His reasoning, I find flawed, but he says because of the 9/11. And
Yeah, well, I was hoping that we could just ignore that and move on, but I mean,
I won't deceive. I mean,
he apparently thinks that the end-all be-all driving experience is made by Porsche.
2006 911
and
Carrera.
that's a good reason to defend driving. You know what? Whatever it takes for him to defend it. I don't care what it is.
it could be whatever car.
Yeah.
Just as long as we're on the same page here, we're good.
You know what? Screw it. If somebody has a 911, I've driven one. I have driven a 911. It didn't change my life
Yet.
like some people. If you have a 911, you want to let me drive it so I will give an honest opinion of whether or not I find it life-changing.
Did Robbie not have an epiphany about
He said
Porsches?
that he's all about Porsche now.
Oh, I'm not all about Porsche.
You had an
but
epiphany.
yeah.
I thought you would quit your job, and in reality, it was just that you decided you liked the look of a Porsche. Is that what I read?
Yeah, so I walked out of the conference I was at last week, and a brand new red Porsche rolls up. I honestly have no clue what number it was.
Nobody does, Robbie.
It was.
Nobody knows any of the models.
It was. I know it was like one of the.
911.
It was one of the newest ones. It was. I think.
Did it have 2 doors or 4 doors?
2 doors. It had.
Okay.
I think it was a convertible.
So it was not.
It was a Boxster or it was a 911?
It might have actually been a Boxster.
It
Could've
was
been a
certainly
Boxster.
not
It wasn't a Cayman.
a Cayman
No,
because that's a hard
I,
top.
I know the
It
difference.
wasn't a
between that.
Panamera because it had
No,
too
no,
many.
it's
It had not enough
Macan,
doors
and it's not a.
because it wasn't
I
an
wanna-
SUV.
I want
Cayenne.
to say it was a Boxster.
Okay, it's a Boxster.
But anyways, I walk out of the conference because
It's sad that they're so hard to tell apart.
I don't know.
The cost is outrageous. But yeah, 120 grand for one.
But yeah, I walk out. I look at it. I'm like, it just rolls into a parking spot. I was like, that's a good looking car.
Son of a bitch.
Never in my life have I done that.
Son of a bitch.
I've never looked at it and was like, that's an ugly car. But I've never
Right,
looked at it and was
yeah.
like, yeah, that works.
If you have a 911 and you are prepared to take the weight of me completely changing all of my opinions about everything
And Robbie's,
selling the
possibly.
drift car,
I don't. Well, I mean,
bring it
Why couldn't
round
you
and
drift
I
a
will drive
Porsche?
it.
a 944 would make a great drift car.
Well, I'd probably have to. Well, but I think the Porsche
See,
thing is it's
you
about
say
the
that,
driving
but here's the
experience.
problem with
It
the
wouldn't,
944 is that they have transaxles, and that makes swapping anything a real fucking expensive nightmare.
Oh,
Get in
'Cause
there
you
with a
either-
Sawzall, bro. Put T56 in there.
we can
Don't be a
fix that. We can
bitch.
fix
Well,
that, right?
You could just get a C5 T56. It's a
True.
It's a
There you
transaxle.
go.
We can do that. We'll be
Get
fine.
done.
We'll be fine.
I've seen an LS swapped one. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, there's
lots
kits
of
out there, but
stuff.
they're not cheap.
Yeah, but yeah.
Get one used. I'm sure there's out
there's-
there.
Dude, there's for sure people out there who have started 944 swaps and then been like, "What the fuck?"
that's my people.
Let's be
Then I
real
can
for a
buy
minute.
it.
What do you really need for an engine swap? Engine mounts
And a drive shaft.
and a well. First of all, drive shafts cost nothing.
No.
in the grand scheme of things.
An oil pan, probably.
Maybe.
Aren't
an oil
you the
pan.
guys who are always like, "It's the little stuff"?
It is
that-
the little
No.
No, it
My
is.
point is, no, not that. I'm just saying, like, if you get a kit and the kit's $5,000, why is the kit $5
Oh,
grand?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
No, it's overpriced.
So like,
Because it's Porsche tax.
Yeah.
the K Miata swap kit, it comes with a custom oil pan and a custom K member and
Okay, custom K
an
member,
adult
maybe.
an adapter plate to go from the flywheel to the clutch for the transmission.
Oh, yeah,
and,
that's a whole different
And all,
deal,
like,
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff involved in the swap to put a K series in a Miata, and so it is the cheapest thing in the
If
world.
it includes using a transmission that didn't come on that motor,
right,
that I'll give you a pass on that.
right.
If it includes using like the whole drivetrain out of a Corvette,
Right.
I'm not paying more than like.
Couple $100.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,500, but I'm kind of down.
I feel like that's too much.
because that kit that I got, which I paid $100 for it, which was probably the right price for it. It's some metal that's been welded together, and the transmission cross member is a joke. Not that it's not safe or that it doesn't work exactly how it's supposed to. It's literally like two pieces of flat stock. It's structural. It's like there's a flat piece and then there's kind of like a triangular style piece underneath it with some supports and whatever to actually hold the transmission, but it just bolts through the floor, and that's it. It's basically just a flat piece of metal that bolts through the floor.
That'll be $1,000.
Anybody
please.
can make that. I think that kit if you can get grannies to make you one because they're weird. But I think it's like $800.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Weird. Yeah, Sickies is all CNC machine stuff, so it's different. It's like billet aluminum stuff. But
Build aluminum would be different, but from now on, I'm just going to take some tube and some plate, and I'm going to weld it together.
This is what happens
You
when
could
you,
make
when you
a
learn
kit.
how to weld things.
oh yeah, it's
You just make everything.
Yeah.
I get it. And by the way, I do think it was a Boxster.
So it was a
GTS.
718 or whatever.
718.
I think it was a 718 Boxster GTS.
Yeah, those are good looking.
They never,
they look like
Porsche
little
guys
mini-
they're not 911s, they're 911s.
Yeah.
It's not a 718, it's a 718.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, I've always because the British call them 944s. They don't call them 944s.
So that is, I think, the only, like, the
928,
928,
928,
the 944, the 924. But if they're rear or mid-engine, it's always the first number and then the second number as a second and third number as a group, it seems.
That's for people on the video.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, it'd be a fun car, but yeah, I wouldn't go and spend $100,000 on it.
I think that, no, that's not the right one. Never mind. I was going to say Renegade makes an LS swap kit for those.
I think it's probably too new for that.
It's like
Yeah, boy.
It's like $5,000.
Yeah, boy. Might be worth
That'd be
it, though.
sweet.
would
That'd
be
be
pretty
so
sick.
sweet.
I think they also make a Coyote swap.
That would
How
also
would you
be
fit
sick.
that in?
I know they put a
I think there's a lot
Coyote.
of
They
vertical
put a
space in there.
Coyote and a Cayman. I don't know if they
Yes.
make. I don't know if they make a kit.
There's probably
for
room
it.
for a Cayman.
I don't know if they made
I don't
a
know
kit
about
for it,
Boxster.
but they
That
do put one in
would
there.
be sick. I would take that to all Porsche Club meetings.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
PCA race track days and stuff
yeah,
like
boy.
that.
My
Oh,
Coyote
God.
screaming.
I like it.
That would be
I like it a lot.
rowdy.
Oh, your IMS failed.
That'd be super rowdy.
Sorry. Yeah, that'd be quite a car.
What the hell? Which topic were we on?
Oh,
The woman being killed by the Uber.
we were on
Yeah,
Waymo.
that was like an
we
hour
were at
ago, dude.
Waymo.
Waymo.
Talking about
The
Waymo, and
Waymo, dude.
9/11.
That's it.
All right, speaking
And-
of track days,
Go Waymo.
Speaking of track days.
Yes, there you go. Look at that.
There's been a lawsuit filed, not recently, quite a while ago, but that could affect all track days and club racing.
this is basically how I felt about skate parks. And you would.
Oh yeah, you
would
remember we were in Michigan? We
were-
were in Grand Rapids. No,
There's something not Grand Rapids.
no, because that's where
Where were we? Anyway,
Benjamin is.
no,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
We were at an indoor skate park at a mall, and when you go in there, you have to sign a waiver. You
Yep.
know, to get in there. And I think we had just signed our waiver, and we were lacing up and putting our pads on and stuff because we were little bitches and we wore pads. Deal with it.
I refuse to skate without a helmet.
Dude, I love wearing knee pads because you just go down on your knees and it doesn't hurt. It's-
Phrasing.
This is a dangerous episode. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Anyway, what I can only assume was a lawyer
Sure acted like it.
was checking in his, let's go with 6-year-old kid, small kid.
6 and 10.
Because when you put a skate park in a mall, what it becomes is a daycare while you and your wife go mauling.
Fair enough.
So they dropped their kid off and they were signing the waiver. And he leans over to his wife and he goes, if he gets hurt, there's no way this would stand up in court.
And it's the same attitude that
As he's like writing on the dotted line,
in front of the people that he's handing the waiver to.
go fuck yourself.
I would have told him to leave.
Yeah.
Like
I
if
would've said, sorry,
if
sir.
that was my skate park
Yeah.
and you say that
we
to me,
reserve
I'm sorry,
the right. Get out.
I'm
of
sorry,
here.
sir. You're not allowed
You're
to have
outta
a
here.
kid here. I'm not taking that risk. Fuck off.
All right. So some backstory, right?
Yep.
This is a business called, I think, Keegwins, if I'm saying
That's
that right.
what I was going to go
Keegwins
with.
at the track. It's just what it's called. Their business that runs
motorcycle
track days.
track day.
That's all I do.
California.
Yep, it's owned by a guy that I'm not even going to pronounce his name. I think
He
it's
bought
Size-
it from Keegwin.
He bought it from Keegwin. His name is Sizeman. Wow, Dizia.
Dizia is what I was going with.
Sizeman Dizia. And they were at Laguna Seca. And this dude had a Ducati 918, I think.
That is not a joke of a bike.
That is quite the
that
bike.
is-
Based on the video, he was, and what I read, he was not an inexperienced rider.
His
Yeah,
name is
that-
Daniel Kim.
So he apparently owns Lit Motors.
Ha.
Not Lit Motors.
No,
it wasn't. It was
it's
Lit something. But they make
It's a
they make
no,
electric
it's an EV
trikes.
startup called Lit Motors.
Yeah.
they make
It-
they
it
make
is-
electric trikes,
Yeah, they're super lame.
and they're not.
It is. They are not.
They're like
lit.
electric mopeds,
They're not lit.
but they have like a canopy.
Okay, so anyway, He's on turn 5 at Laguna Seca. He ends up off the track, still on 2 wheels, hits a sandbag, which was there due to erosion.
Prevention of erosion.
Prevention of erosion. He did not ride over the sandbag. He rolled the bike, rolled over the front of the handlebars of the bike, and broke his femur. Which
is a real bad bone to break.
Yeah, usually if you break your femur, you're super screwed.
It's pretty high up there on my list of bones.
Things you don't want to do.
Yeah, like I broke a lot of bones. Femur's not one of them.
Yeah, if you break a femur, you're usually in such a bad wreck, you die. The only other person that I know of that's broken a femur is Brian Deegan, and he didn't die.
When you don't die, it takes a minute to heal.
A couple
nasty bone.
So he's obviously suing. He's claiming that the sandbag placement constitutes gross negligence, or as attorneys do. And therefore, the waiver in this particular case does not protect the track day organizer or the track. Well, in this case, it was actually the track day organizer.
The track has been absolved of guilt.
Yes, they sued. He sued everybody, incling Mazda.
He tried to sue Mazda.
I'm surprised he didn't try to sue Ducati also while he was at it.
And you make a bike that's too fast.
That's might be part of the problem.
Which is a fair thing.
Sue Michelin for the tires. Sue.
God,
who made the sandbag? Somebody didn't make a soft enough sandbag.
So
it was too sunny out. Thank you, God.
So I watched the video, and there was a gentleman that was he's a professional instructor. It sounds like, and what's his name here? Dustin Coiner, and he's right. He does some weird stuff in that corner. If you watch it, Robbie, you've ridden motorcycles. I watch him look at the corner, like look at the outside. I watch him look at the sandbag.
Oh, like
if you go back and watch the video,
he fixated on it?
Yeah, he fixated on the out because he comes out. He doesn't hit his apex.
What you do.
He doesn't hit his apex like the guy in front of him does.
Yeah.
He realizes he's running wide, and he's looking through the corner, and then all of a sudden his vision goes out.
He stands up.
Yeah, he is. Well, that's why his bike stood up.
That's after he's accepted the fact.
You can see his helmet move. He's looking at where the sandbag is.
That's a guaranteed way to crash.
Bike stands up. He goes straight off.
Yeah, I mean that's almost identical to what I did when I wrecked that Buell.
They tell you that, and
because inexperienced rider, and I knew what I should have been doing, but I wasn't good enough to practice it well because I didn't do a lot of driving. It was always someone else's bike. It was never mine. Or it was a dirt bike where you could just like throw your weight around and you don't need to follow those rules. So anyways, taking a corner at 60, and I'm just kind of watching the road right in front of me, not watching where I need to be going, 100 feet ahead of me, following the curve. And then I ended up in the field. That sounds like what he did.
You watch the video, that's exactly what it looks like to me. He fixated on going off the course because the two guys in front of him are not going faster than he is.
Right.
And they're not close to him, so he can't blame it on them. There's plenty of distance between him and the next guy.
Yeah.
A number of what I would call industry professionals agreed that this was an absolutely avoidable crash that was solely at the fault of the rider.
Yeah. I mean, and with motorcycles, and maybe to me, it just seems like motorcycles a little bit more than cars. Like if you take your attention away, it's real easy to find yourself where you don't want to belong.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
I agree.
I think this driver made a mistake, and he's embarrassed, and now he sees a great opportunity to finance his lit motors.
That's what I'm.
That's how it's coming across to me. This is just a money grab. He's hoping someone will settle. But
he doesn't have any money. I mean,
that's
the guy that's running the track days.
Right.
He doesn't have any money because his money's tied up in. He bought the business.
Yep.
And I mean,
what's a track day company worth?
Nothing.
A couple.
You're only really worth your name and how smart the guy is running it. That's about all it's worth.
So,
you got no assets.
I mean, is that a $20,000 purchase even? Do you think?
Oh, for
it's
him,
not a grid life.
Maybe
I mean.
Maybe they're huge. Maybe this company runs this all the time. Maybe it's $100,000 business.
Yeah, but even still, we're not talking millions here.
No, I don't think this guy's a millionaire. Didn't he say it would put him out of business if something happens?
If he had to settle at all.
I can't remember. It's been a few days since I read this. The number that his insurance was willing to cover.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't remember it.
He's suing for $5 million. It was 15. Now he's down to 5.
Which to me shows that he knows he's in the wrong.
Yeah, it's just hoping for a settlement.
So first of all, he missed the drivers' meeting, from what I understand.
Yep, that sounded like he did.
Which
yes.
to me means you don't belong on the track. If you don't make it to a drivers' meeting, you don't make it on track that day. Nope. I think that should be pretty white and black. And secondly, this was 10 laps into the afternoon session.
So he's been riding all day.
Which to me says not only has he been riding for 10 laps in that session, but they specifically stayed afternoon session, although I never did see whether or not he made a morning session. Oh, yeah. But assuming he didn't, he'd been on that track for 10 laps. The very first thing he should have done was a sighting lap and should have identified that there was a hazard on there. And if he didn't feel comfortable with it, he should have stopped. It's as simple as that to me.
Absolutely.
Well, I like the idea of if you're off track, it's your responsibility. Yeah. Like maintaining the track, okay, maintaining the curbs,
and that's what that was for. It was to prevent, because that's coming right. That turn is right before you head uphill to the top of the track to hit the corkscrew coming back down again. Mm-hmm. And so when it rains, first of all, they go long periods of time without rain, and so that ground gets real hard.
Yep.
And when it rains, it just washes down that hill. And whatever it manages to pick up, it just deposits right in that corner. And so those sandbags were to prevent that, arguably to make the track safer. So.
But the reason this could affect everybody is if the settlement goes.
If he wins this, essentially that means that all those waivers you've signed mean nothing, and insurance rates are going to go through the roof.
If even possible to get.
Well,
I think that's a stretch.
This is really dramatic.
I think
it's really dramatic. So
I do think that. I agree with that.
Something we need to take into consideration here, and I don't know that this was addressed. By the way, Revzilla, if you actually want an article that's been researched, that's probably where I would go to pick something, because this guy actually talked about his sources, and I called these people, and this, and it was actually longer than Jalopnik, and it didn't say
funny
bike rider gets fucked, and it was actually a decent article. But I think realistically, something that may take away from this is I'd be interested to see the waiver, and if the waiver was signed, did it cover the track day organizer, or did it cover Laguna Seca?
A lot of times I think you sign both, don't you?
Every time I've been to a track, I've only ever signed one waiver.
Yeah, that's all.
And it's usually provided by the track.
I can tell you at Iowa Speedway for the autocross events, you signed one for Iowa Speedway and one for DMVR.
I don't know if I did. Did you?
I can't remember how many things. I feel like I signed a bunch of shit that day.
I know.
My PDX.
I know unequivocally that you signed two waivers to walk into those gates.
I feel like I've signed more than that. I feel like I signed.
Probably had to sign.
I signed a bunch of. I signed a bunch of stuff.
But anyway, so that's not addressed. So I'd be curious to know that. I'd be curious to know. I mean, there's a lot of attorneys out there. Somebody's going to figure out a way to write this out of a waiver or something. Okay, track insurance rates go up maybe because now they have a reason for them to go up. Does their actual liability increase? I don't know. I can't actually tell you if it does or not. Does this provide real precedence for gross negligence of track maintenance? I don't know. Does that necessarily apply to the track day organizer, not the track? I don't know. I just think that this stuff,
well, so
just turns into
I think
gotcha journalism, and it's a little over the top.
They've already said the track is not at fault.
Right.
So I think if it's going to affect anybody, it's going to affect the organizer most.
In this particular case, yes.
Right.
But why in another case wouldn't the track owner and maintenance, whoever's responsible for the maintenance, be responsible for it in a negligence?
Right.
standpoint?
Different tracks, different scenarios.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
This came up on Track Midwest too, and I was just like, I just don't know, man. I mean, and this may go all the way to court, and it sounds like it may if he can't settle, and the judge may go, no, you're a moron. You were riding a Ducati at Laguna Seca, and you signed a waiver, and no, you lose.
Let's hope it goes up. I guess to me, like even at skate parks or at track days, autocrosses, drift events, never in my mind did it occur to me, if I go off track, I'm going to sue. I went off track. It's my fault, especially on something like this. Like if I broke my arm in a skate park, I fell.
I think that's a cultural difference as much as anything.
Probably.
I think, like that's kind of your small town Midwest mentality. I've accepted that liability. I'll also accept that responsibility. You accept that when you mess up, that's your fault. And different parts of this country / world, that's not necessarily the case all the time.
Right.
Which is
it's
right or wrong. It's the way it is.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, like if I backed my car behind the grandstands at RPM and the grandstands fell down and crushed my car, I'd want my car paid for. Do I need a $5 million settlement? No, I just want my car fucking paid for.
Right, and the track's insurance would cover that.
But if I hit the grandstands and they fall down,
that's my fault.
I owe RPM instead of grandstands,
that's right.
And I'm out of car.
Yes. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I take responsibility for my actions, and maybe that's my biggest takeaway from this is I accept the risk of a track day. If I slam my car into the wall at Iowa Speedway, it wasn't Iowa Speedway's fault. It was my fault.
It's just too bad that that's not the way that everybody looks at it.
No, I'm sure it's not.
My guess is, and it's really unfortunate, but what happened was this guy, if he owns a business and it's this it's
Lit
whatever
Motors,
it is, maybe he's got an attorney on retainer, maybe he's got an attorney buddy, I don't know, but maybe he brought this lawsuit up, maybe the attorneys brought the lawsuit up, and that's why they went after everybody, because they went, listen, here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to go after Laguna Seca, because we think they got money. We're going to try to go after Mazda, because obviously they have money, and we're going to try to go after this guy, and then there was like somebody else they tried to sue. Like somebody is going to come up.
County of Monterey, because they own the track.
Anyway, somebody's going to come up with $1 million. We're going to find $1 million somewhere. Unfortunately, all the people with money are no longer part of this party, and the only one left is the track day organizer, who is going to run him out of business.
He'll file bankruptcy, and you probably won't see anything anyway.
Right.
So, and now he's this far along. What's he going to do? He's probably going to take it to trial. So,
he did say, "I will not settle outside of court. I am taking this to court, and I am not settling on this because this is not just for me. This is for everybody." And I don't think that I'm
not buying
liable
that for a second.
maybe you should.
No, the track day organizer said that.
Oh, I'm good with that.
He said, "I am not settling with this guy.
No, because
for the future of track days across this country, I am not settling with this guy outside of court. I am taking it to court, and I am fighting it to the end."
Yes, I had that backwards when you said that.
Right.
But yes, no, 100%.
So that mentality I like. I hope he wins.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous that he has to fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy should stick to his bubble track.
Yep.
I think. Put the Ducati away.
It's not good.
It's
It's
weird.
so bad.
It's a cockpit around a moped.
Yeah,
Which
it's
I
not
think
any, he's not
is a
changing the
safety
game.
issue.
He is doing like the whole like
Look how cool I am.
arms crossed. Yeah, he's just doing that look. But yeah, dude, that's a moped with a bubble on it.
Isn't that like more dangerous than than just a regular moped?
Well, I mean,
Because now when you fall over,
I think these have like
you're stuck with
I
it.
think they have like a gyro in them to keep them upright. If I
Oh, that's right. Because
I think we've talked.
there
Maybe
was
not
some
this
deal.
one.
The
but
reason. Oh, I remember reading this now. The reason that this guy his company's not doing so well, and there was actually an article that was linked to this somewhere that I was reading, is because the article was written out. I think the title was "Chinese knockoff beats lit motors to self gyroed
Whatever scooter thing.
right." So
And
there's
probably at half the
there's
cost.
some Chinese knockoff
it's better.
bullshit that actually
out.
works and his doesn't.
Well, yeah, you'd probably sue somebody then for $5 million if that was the case.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
So
Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, please.
The new Lincoln Continental will have suicide doors.
Neat.
oh, it's so cool.
Now they might actually sell some.
Oh, let's not get carried away. It's a sedan. Apparently, we don't buy those anymore.
I like a nice sedan. And
I do.
And yeah, I think this is a good move for Lincoln. It's part of their brand identity. I don't know why everybody thinks they need to make a sports sedan. Like everybody keeps trying to make the same car.
Looks like the most luxury of luxury sedans that I could currently buy that's not a Rolls Royce.
Right.
It's at a reasonable cost. I think they start at like 45 or something like that. So it's
Really?
It's totally for a full size luxury car. It's totally reasonable. It'll have sweet suicide doors. You can show your friends. Like,
It's going to have an Eco Boost in it.
It doesn't. Lincoln does not need to be Cadillac.
No.
No, in fact, they shouldn't be.
No,
they should
'cause
be
they're-
Lincoln.
they're too far
because
behind
We
at
already
this
have Cadillac. They're called Cadillac.
Yeah, I'll just go get myself a
we need
Cadillac.
something
Thanks.
else.
Yeah. I want a smooth, twin turbocharged, kind of outrageous, ostentatious, stupid Lincoln.
Suicide door.
Suicide doored Lincoln. I don't want.
So cool. Do you know? Does it have a B pillar?
Almost has to.
When you
Yeah,
open
I would
the
think
door?
it's got to have one. There's
Well,
no
probably
there's
has
no
to.
renderings of it
Crash
yet.
standards.
Well, I think with safety requirements, they'd almost have to have it so that there's a pillar, and then they also have to have it so that it can't open without the front door opening. Because they're like,
See, I would have said that in this scenario, that would not be the case. I would say it for sure has a B pillar.
Yep.
And if it does not have a B pillar, then for sure that back door has to open second. But
Right.
I'll bet you that if there's a B pillar, that door will open independently of the front.
well, I think that was why they kind of died in the first place, though, is because of the safety issues of having that door swing open. I mean, there's a long list of reasons. Some of them are super ridiculous, but like,
What makes that any less safe than a regular door?
so if I'm driving and someone opens the door, the wind fucking takes it and then slams it open, or you open it into traffic and you block your vision to where you're walking out, and then that door could, if someone hits it, will close you in it. Whereas if it opens regular and someone hits it, it's
Oh.
gonna it's gonna go away from you. It's gonna push you into the door.
Right, yeah, because
So,
I'm
I mean,
thinking
there's-
the opposite of traffic here. So, yeah, okay, I see where you're getting
Yeah.
at.
So I mean,
Fuck it, dude. There's a Costa looking like a baller.
I get it.
It might be getting
Take
hit by a
some
car.
liability.
It might be getting hit by a car, man. Getting crushed by your own door.
Don't get me wrong.
I like to live my life
love it.
dangerously.
I'm just saying, like, that's
not attractive.
That's what's gonna kill it, though, is that type of safety stuff. If someone's like, we can't have these, they're unsafe.
Man, tables are not safe.
I'm aware you could break your leg walking out of bed.
Yeah. Stairs aren't safe.
No,
That's
they're
my
super-
kid. He fell down one.
Is he
Got
okay?
his first legitimate boo-boo.
Happens,
Split
man.
his lip wide open.
He is a boy. He's your son.
I was
Did he hit a
excited.
table?
Not yet.
Oh.
I mean, like, he's ran into a table
Yeah,
or two
this is
here.
dangerous.
Shit happens, man.
He's fine.
Yeah, I'm curious if this will work and how they do it. It's cool. It's awesome.
So cool.
That they should do it.
So cool.
And I'm hoping that the design of the car itself is a little bit more
Ridiculous?
over the top.
It's too sedate.
Make it glittery. Man,
Make
make
it-
it stupid. Make it
make it-
shiny.
make
Put
it
some
long.
chrome on
Also,
that
put some
bitch.
smaller wheels on that.
Nope.
Make
Bigger
it-
wheels.
No, give me some.
Tuck that shit.
Give me
Tuck
some
it.
fucking
Tuck it.
17.
Put air ride on it from the factory.
I want some
Drop
sidewall.
that bitch on the ground when you stop.
I
No,
want,
make it
Sidewall
baller.
Nation.
I want
No,
it longer.
make it
I want the whole
baller.
car longer and squarer.
Longer,
Squarer for sure.
more baller,
It's
bigger
it's-
wheels.
Right, this drawing or rendering or this picture of one is too much like
The
a Maxima.
front end needs
It's
to
too
be-
much like a
The
Maxima.
front end needs to be 4 foot tall. Just like it needs to be
It's got.
way up there. Right?
Think what Dodge did with the Challenger. Do that with the Continental.
I want to hit a button and drinks come out of the dash.
Oh, absolutely.
Alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
I want it to be the most dangerous car.
What are we
available
driving around
for sale.
Missouri?
Yeah, exactly.
It needs a humidor
It needs a humidor for sure.
and like some sort of automated cigarette or cigar
Cigar.
lighter.
It just comes down out of the roof, like zzz, lights your cigar, and then goes back up.
Ooh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm all about
A
that.
panoramic
Lincoln needs
roof.
to be baller.
That whole back of that back seat of that. needs
Ford's
to
already
be
doing that with their
illuminated.
edges. Why they should just do it with this?
Oh, it for sure is. That's an
have
easy
to.
thing.
I bet they could do that. I bet they're doing it.
They'd be
Yeah,
foolish,
that
they'd be
one I
foolish
can
not
guarantee that's the case. That's not even a ridiculous thing.
No, that's standard.
It sucks when it hails, but other than that,
Details. Sucks when it hails no matter what.
yeah. But I feel like glass would be way worse than paintless dent removal.
But it should be tempered glass, so it should be stronger. So like it'll
yeah, that's fair.
dent
It
your
takes some
hood.
pretty serious.
Yeah, it'll dent your
Hail.
hood, but it won't dent your window,
No.
sunroof.
Turn the boost up on that bitch. Make 500 horsepower.
Oh, minimum.
Making it like a reason like super laggy and like not useful, but 500 horsepower.
Yeah, you can advertise 500.
Like I want 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, but you don't ever use it, sort of thing. It's like a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
like nobody drives a Rolls Royce like that. You're not a maniac.
Well, does Rolls Royce used to at least? I don't know if they still do. They just posted their horsepower figures as adequate.
No, now it's like we make 9 billion horsepower.
See, I
the
feel
car
like-
weighs
I like-
8,000
I
pounds.
like
but
adequate. That's awesome.
I don't think that works anymore.
I know, but it should.
That's more Bentley. Bentley's more like, yeah, it makes 780
Adequate.
foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus.
yeah. So Bentley's really they don't make luxury cars anymore. They just make these outrageous.
V12 Volkswagens, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Bentley. Bentley is a brand that I like a lot.
Is it Bentley that's a Volkswagen?
Yeah.
And then Roller
Rolls-Royce
is a BMW?
Yep.
And then Maybach is Benz.
Yeah.
But
Which actually, I think Maybach is now just a line of Mercedes and not a brand.
Right, it is.
Yeah, dude, baller status. Put a crystal in there, man. Chandelier.
Dying, sorry.
Yeah. This happens. We got some water.
I know that's the
got
problem
a
is
little
I need
water.
something to drink and I don't have anything that's
We got some
not
black.
You want some
I
black?
almost I was gonna ask for the black actually. 'Cause
There you go.
it's
Black,
better
you wanna
than
take that home?
Actually, I do want to drink
Take
this
the
right
black
here,
home.
right now,
take
because
the
it's
Perrier.
better than that Perrier horse shit.
It's so delicious.
It's got some weird.
It just
aftertaste
needs some
to it.
sugar or something
Oh,
in
God.
it. I'd be all about it.
When I win something, Formula Drift maybe, or whatever, Pro-Am.
Can you
Yeah.
shake that and like?
Oh,
shoot
hell
it all
yeah, dude. I'm
over
going to
us?
shoot Perrier at people.
I'd be all. I'll allow it.
Wee wee.
Maybe I'll sign up as, what's his name? Damn it. I forgot his name. Shit, what's his name?
Which
Not Ricky Bobby. The other guy.
John Gerard.
Jean Girard. There
That's
you
what
go.
I'm signing up for when I do my Pro-Am season. Jean Girard. Change my Instagram.
I need to watch that again.
Wasn't he sponsored by Perrier?
Yes.
Did you have a
Yeah, he
Perrier?
was, wasn't he?
It was.
See? Fucking works, dude.
Yes.
Maybe I'll get Perrier livery on the RX-7.
That'd be
That
great.
would annoy Adam because it's also green.
You got to
2 years or next year.
We got now we got to paint your cage green.
Yeah,
John,
see?
John Deere
See?
green.
A
John-
Perrier,
ooh,
a
I could
Perrier
get that.
Tets logo wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No,
Nobody
really.
would get that at all.
No, it's too plain.
Nobody would understand.
Plus, nobody bought the golf one.
It would
Looking at you,
literally
fans.
just for me.
Sometimes you just got to make something for you.
It was mostly
get
for
that.
Adam. It was first and foremost for Adam, but we had it, so then it ended
It's
up
awesome.
on the
It's,
website.
it's a cool shirt.
I like it.
Yeah,
I need to buy
I do
another
too.
one. Sorry,
So-
I ruined mine.
If you want to contribute
Happens.
to the conversation, go to the group, like the page, go to the group, hang out, tell us about your car or whatever.
Yeah, well, I want to hear about some builds.
Yeah. Actually, if people could share their cars again, that would be sick. If
I like
somebody
that.
wants to
We
start
haven't
that thread.
had
Or
that going for a while.
if you come into the group as a new guy, like just throw a picture of your car out there and tell people about it. That'd be sick.
Yeah, tell them
Introduce yourself.
why your car is better than everybody else's.
Tell 'em
let's,
why-
let's have that going for a while.
Yeah, it'd be like, my Coyote's way sweeter than your stupid LS or whatever.
Yeah, take that, push rods.
Yeah, push rods are for morons.
Was it 1940?
Yeah, so do that, and then go to the Instagram and follow that as well.
Definitely.
And YouTube, though our YouTube's not been as strong lately, but we'll come back.
in the last week or two.
We haven't
Yeah.
posted a lot of stuff.
We legit
Just
took a break.
episodes lately.
Yeah, we legit took a break.
We'll do some
It
stuff.
was also not a break.
No. It was a break.
There was
from
a lot of
doing
shit to
new
do.
stuff on the podcast.
Yeah. Also, we got some cool guests coming up, so stick around for that.
I'm excited.
Yes, they're going to be great.
And I think that's it.
My
long
ranting and
episode.
ravings have finally landed somewhere valuable.
We may have disturbed a large organization.
Cannot wait to hear about this.
We're shakers and movers in the industry now, people.
Yeah.
Hashtag real journalists.
we are
Influencers. We are
Oh,
influencers.
shit, Ravi. We're influencers.
we are known
That is a profession now.
It
We
is a
are
profession.
Influencers.
we are known in a potentially not positive way to a large.
I don't think it's a not positive way.
Would you call it positive?
I don't think it's
There's
not.
no such thing as
That's what I
bad
said- that's what
publicity.
I
I
said.
don't think
not
it's not positive. It's not positive.
Yeah, but I'm not coming out of the gate saying like they love us. I'm saying that it's not.
I
Well, we
think-
didn't say anything too harsh.
I don't think we said anything that was a lie.
No.
I think it
it's
was
called
honest feelings.
Constructive criticism.
It was
is-
constructive
yeah.
criticism. Didn't call anybody
And
a
to be
moron.
completely
No.
truthful, I understand why most of my gripes exist.
You don't get anywhere like complimenting people all the time. You know, telling them, yeah, you're doing a great
And
job.
I
when they're
said
doing
that I
a
was
not good job.
excited.
I'm excited.
I'm not talking about this one particular person that we're talking about that the other people listening can't know that we're talking about.
They already figured it out. Let's be real here.
Maybe,
we have
but-
smart people listening to this
Maybe.
show.
I guess they could speculate in the group as to what we're talking about. Of course,
Please.
now he'll have something come up and he'll have to cancel. We'll just look like morons. But anyway,
It's worth it.
yeah, it might be worth it. But anyway, so stick around definitely for the next month.
Month.
Yeah, good
We
stuff
got
happening.
stuff coming up. There's more stuff coming up. More changes.
Do we have a third? I know the
Maybe.
first
Yeah,
two.
there's a maybe in there too that I'm working on, and he's got one
I got
too.
one.
There's lots of stuff
You
coming
have
up.
one too?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's all
Hey.
kinds of shit happening.
I need to get working.
Get on the
gonna be-
map
I got a
now.
couple of people,
know who
I
we
want
are.
to talk to.
It's going to be good.
People know who we are now. So
My dad told me that he would feel like we really made it somewhere if we talked to Stacey David. So
Yeah, make
Hit it
can't
up, dude.
disappoint your
make
father,
that
right?
phone call.
Can't disappoint your own father.
I understand.
All right. I think that's it. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.